96.5 The Fan.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City! Kansas City wins the game!
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited, thrilled, delighted to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Monday. We have two main objectives today. We will talk about the Kansas City Chiefs draft. We will also highlight the very strong week it was for the Kansas City Royals. We'll do all that coming up momentarily. I want to tell you guys that my name is Carrington Harrison. Rob Britton is here producing this thing. We are taking you up to 6 o'clock today, so we got a full 4 hours to take your phone calls, read your texts, get your reaction on the Chiefs draft. Before we do all that, I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. And number two, I need you to tell one friend. It would be great if you could tell 2 friends about the show, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. If you could just tell one person about the show, you know what? I would appreciate it. I believe that the Kansas City Chiefs sent us a message with this year's draft class. Let me tell you what I think that message is. I think the Chiefs have been sending this message the entire offseason cycle, and what they did was just continue that theme through the NFL draft. The message that the Chiefs sent is, we believe our offense in 2024 was going to be good enough. We just never got the opportunity to see it. The theme for this offseason has simply been run it back. It has been, we had enough at running back, but our running back broke his leg. We had enough at wide receiver, but our best wide receiver tore his ACL in the first month of the season. A wide receiver that we were counting on, that we were depending on, hurt his shoulder in the preseason. The team that we were going to field, we thought we were going to field week 1, that team was good enough. We just didn't get a chance to see them in full. We want that opportunity in 2025. Every move they have made this offseason has been with that belief intact, and they continue that through the NFL draft. Really think about the selections that the Chiefs made. I like the move of Josh Simmons. We'll talk more specifically about that. We covered it a lot on Friday, but you guys know where I stand with Josh Simmons. I believe that it was the most logical move that the Chiefs could have made in round 1. I don't think he's starting this year. I know some of you disagree and think that he could potentially win out that job. You know where I am. I think the finances suggest that he is simply going to sit in year 1, and I'm fine with that. But there is a chance that the Chiefs spent the 32nd overall pick on an offensive lineman that is not going to start week 1 for them. They did not attack an immediate day 1 need or potentially find a day 1 starter in round 1. I believe that this is more of a pick for 2026 and 2027 than it is for this upcoming season. So at their first pick, their first swing at the draft, they draft a player that I believe the intention is to help them next year, not this year. You then think about the wide receiver group. Brett Veach came into this draft saying that he wanted to get more explosive at running back and wide receiver. Well, you had a couple of opportunities to do that. You had 4 picks in the top 100. They didn't take a receiver in any of those. They didn't take a running back in any of those selections. In fact, they didn't take their first skill position player until pick 133. Now, I like that pick. This is not me telling you that I don't think that Jaylen Royals is a good pick, and I think that Jaylen Royals is in line with the kind of player that they like. But I think you would agree, if you felt like you needed immediate day 1 help at wide receiver, you take a wide receiver earlier than pick 133. This is a pick that will probably help you more in 2026, in 2027. We've seen how slow it has been for Chiefs receivers to emerge the last couple of years. Xavier Worthy didn't figure it out to the second half of the season. Rashee Rice, same deal. So you would have to think that Jaylen Royals is going to be on that same type of time, and he's also going to be behind 3 veteran players. I'm not anticipating Jaylen Royals having 800, 900 yards receiving this year. That's not the way their offense is going to be set up for him. I don't think he's going to get those targets or those opportunities. So this is another pick that seems like it's going to be in the line of you're going to probably sit behind Juju Smith-Schuster this year. And in 2026, when his contract is off the books, you'll then plop into that role, and then we'll go from there. So their first two offensive picks, we believe, are future selections. Joshua Simmons, going to start in 2026 on the left or right side. Same thing with Jaylen Royals. We talked all offseason about this running back room. I desperately wanted them to go get a running back. When I looked at this class and I saw how many running backs got selected, there were 25 running backs that got drafted this weekend. 25 of them. The Chiefs selected the 21st running back. Now, will he be better than some of these guys? Sure. Is he going to be worse than some of these guys? Certainly. But there were 25 running backs that went off the board. They made the 21st selection on a back. They didn't see it as a pressing need for this team. The Chiefs, I think, sent a very loud and clear message. We like our running back room. We like Isaiah Pacheco. We like Kareem Hunt. We believe that Elijah Mitchell is going to be healthy this year. We're not looking for a guy to come in here and take over the number one job and be a guy that gets 200, 225 carries. No, we're looking for a guy to complement our room and fill out what we're already doing. I think the Chiefs sent a very, very clear message in how they've moved and operated, and this is the team. Sure, maybe they'll make a veteran pickup between now and then, but it's not going to be an impact player. The time to draft impact players is now over. So when we have this conversation in October and you guys are like, well, why don't they? That time's over. That window is closed. Maybe it opens back up at the trade deadline, but this is the team for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think the message is clear. We're good. Sure, we had to go find our left tackle. We went out and we got Jaylen Moore. But for our offense, we believe that Mahomes has everything that he needs. We like this wide receiver room. We didn't go out and get a tight end. We love our tight end room. We think that there's more growth with Noah Gray. We think there's more growth with Jalen Wiley as he gets healthy. And then you look at their wide receiver room. They didn't draft a wide receiver until pick 133. They love their wide receivers and feel like if they had had a healthy wide receiver room, that they would have been an explosive, dynamic offense last year. The Chiefs, to me, have the energy of a team that expects to be top 10, top 8 offensively this year. At least that's how they moved. They didn't move with any sense of urgency when it came to the skill position players. Not running back, not wide receiver, not tight end. Their energy this entire offseason has been, we have enough. Now, it is a simple wait and see. We wait and see if they have enough on offense. Do they have a dynamic enough running back room? Do they have enough at wide receiver? Should they have gone out and made another move when it came to the tight end? But I think it's clear what the Chiefs valued in this draft. They went out and they got back-to-back picks. They pick up defensive line players. You then fill out that cornerback room and create real competition and depth when it comes to that room. One of the picks, when I thought they were going to take a running back in the 5th round, all right, now you still got a chance to take him. There's still some really good running backs on the board when the Chiefs make the selection to go get a linebacker. I mean, you still could have got Devin Neal at that time. You still could have got DJ Giddens at this time. Like, you could have got a running back at that pick 156 if you really wanted to. Ollie Gordon was still on the board. Devin Neal was still on the board. The Mulligans kid that went to Michigan was still on the board. No. We think we're good at running back, and we're going to address these other needs. So, Rob, as we are taking our first look at this draft class, and the draft class is complete for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think their message has been loud and clear. We are more focused on 2026. We are more focused on the trenches, whether it's on the offensive or the defensive side. When it comes to skill position players, at least for this upcoming season, if we're healthy, we believe that we have enough on our offense. We believe that we are well-rounded on our offense. We believe that we are complete. I don't know if you can look at their draft and look at where they selected skill position players and come away with any other conclusion.
The Chiefs used the draft, and they matched the energy they have done all offseason. This show has been saying it. They don't have the catchy slogan and the logos and the whole deal. Remember in 2020, it was all run it back, run it back, run it back. They were telling everyone run it back. They're doing the same thing this offseason. They just don't have the swagger of a Super Bowl champion, and they don't have the graphics, and they don't have the song, they don't have the stuff, but they're doing the same. If we pulled up the depth chart for week 1 of the Chiefs season in 2024 versus what will be week 1 in 2025, it's going to be eerily similar. You're going to have a new left tackle and a new left guard. Everything else is going to be the same. Same tight end, same receivers, same running back, same, everything on defense, basically the same D-line, basically the same safety, same corner. It's going to be the same. The Chiefs 2024 and 2025 are the Spider-Man meme. And you know what? It's fine if you're the Spider-Man meme if you are of the belief that the Chiefs had one really bad day on the worst day to have a bad day, which is how One Arrowhead Drive has operated all offseason. You might disagree, I might disagree, the text line might disagree, but Brett Veach, Clark Hunt, Mark Donovan, the power structure over there says we were a 15-2 team, 15-1 when we tried, that had one really bad day, and we're going to bring that team back and watch out.
All right, let's take a little bit of a break here. Coming up on the other side, there is one major question that I have regarding the Kansas City Chiefs. And you're right, we are allowed to see things differently. But I am still confused. I am confused at how the Chiefs can look at their running back room, look at the long-term viability of their running back room, and come to the conclusion that they didn't need to spend more assets and more resources to address it. We'll talk about it next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison
This man was a bona fide scrub.
on 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bets more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. Log in today and make your picks with confidence with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
New Harley-Davidson Street Glides under $265 a month at Rawhide Harley. Ride out for under $265 a month on a new Street Glide at Rawhide Harley-Davidson.
Payments based on Street Glide model and base color with 30% down, 96-month term, 6.99% APR with approved credit. Doesn't include brake setup tax, title, and license fees. See dealer for details.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in Kansas City. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
March 2012. That's when we started Connolly Plumbing Solutions. It has been a wild ride. If you have had us take care of plumbing issues for you, we thank you. If you haven't, next time you need a plumber, we would love the opportunity to win you over. Locally owned and family operated, serving the entire Kansas City metro area. Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. Call 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
KC, let's get loud at Big Slick 2025. Enjoy comedy, music, and more at the Big Slick Show on May 31st at T-Mobile Center with all proceeds benefiting Children's Mercy. Tickets are on sale now at BigSlickKC.org. Peace and quiet are not invited, but you are.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You could think you found your dream home online, but here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You could think you found your dream home online, but here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
The PGA Tour is all systems go, and so is the new show, Early Wedge, on the CBS Sports Podcast Network. Join Sportsline experts Sia Najad, Mike McClure, and Eric Cohen alongside myself, Rick Gaiman, Patrick McDonald, and Jason Sobel. 5 times per week, the Early Wedge provides the best information for DFS lineups, outright selections, and so much more. Follow and listen to Early Wedge in the Early Edge feed on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Subscribe to 96.5 The Fan on YouTube to watch the show from wherever you are.
All right. This is going to be the part of the show where I am a bit critical about the Chiefs and their draft. I know that sometimes you guys don't like to hear me do that, and you believe that Brett Veach is infallible, that he has never made a mistake, he has never missed on a pick, and everything that Brett Veach says is right. If that's how you feel, the next 10 minutes of the show are not for you, and I would suggest you come back, because there are a lot of things that I do like about this draft class. I like the addition of Joshua Simmons and thinks it makes a lot of sense for the Kansas City Chiefs. I like the pick of Jaylen Royals and think the value of where you selected him is great value. I understand valuing the trenches and taking defensive linemen and D tackles. I like them trying to continue the depth at cornerback. There are a lot of things that I like about this year's draft class. So I don't want you to hear anything that I'm about to say and take this like I'm down on the Chiefs draft. I'm not. But I do have questions, and I am a bit confused about this team. This is maybe what I'm most confused about with the Kansas City Chiefs. Just a week ago, they told me they were interested in being more dynamic and explosive at the skill position players. Listen to Brett Veach.
You're a few bad weeks away from having no depth at all. I mean, I know I've always said the story a few years back of that defensive end position where we had a 2 or 3 week span where we lost multiple guys. And, you know, last year, Pacheco got hurt early on. And I mean, we always want to surround Pat with playmakers. And, you know, the more talented wideouts you can throw on the field at one time is something important to us. And depth at running back. And look, this kickoff role too. I mean, ideally, you know, it would be advantageous for us to identify a receiver and or running back that has explosive playmaking ability on both ends. Remigio did a great job, but again, we're always pushing the envelope to get 1% better. And if we can add another dynamic element to both return phases, that would be something that would make sense. So it's not just wanting to continue to add explosive playmaking at the running back or the receiver position. It's also the return game.
So that was Brett Veach last week. Brett Veach also says that he loved the depth at running back and DN, which makes sense. They drafted a running back and they took a DN very high in this year's draft class.
So the defensive line class in general is good. I think that's probably driven more so by the depth at D end. I think there's a lot of D ends, and I think that running backs is certainly I think the deepest class in the draft. A close second would be D end. I think the interior defensive line numbers are I think better than most years, but I don't think they come anywhere close to the D-line depth and the corner depth. I think those two are just wow. I mean, you look at the board and those names go from top to bottom. Interior O-line is light. Corner, I think, is actually decent in the middle rounds. I think D-line is okay, but I don't think it's any more or less than any one particular. I think that where you're getting the big numbers from top to bottom are D-end and running back.
All right. This is where I'm a bit confused by the Chiefs, and you're allowed to disagree. 913-586-7965. This is the same general manager who I would say broke what some of you consider to be the cardinal rule when it comes to running backs in the draft. Rob, you're not against taking running backs in the draft, but there is one round that you are emphatic you should never take a running back in. What round is that?
The first round.
Brett Veach has drafted a running back in the first round, has gone completely against conventional wisdom, and thought that position was so important that they needed to spend a first-round pick on the position. We have now seen in 5 years' time the same organization that drafted a running back in the first round now not seem to value the position at all. They have, since spending a first-round draft pick on a running back, they have used 3 additional picks on running backs. They spent a 6th-round pick on Darwin Thompson, who is not an NFL player. They spent a 7th-round pick on Isaiah Pacheco, who has turned out to be a good, productive NFL player. And now they have spent another 7th-round pick on a running back draft class that was considered to be generational. Most people that cover the draft felt like running back was one of the deeper positions in this year's draft class. There were 25 of them selected, and the Chiefs didn't draft a running back until the 21st running back had come off the board. Why? I just don't understand how the Chiefs could look at their running back room and last year see that their best running back option averaged 3.6 yards per carry, see how another one of their options in Elijah Mitchell has never stayed healthy at any point in his career. Their other running back is coming off a significant leg injury and is in the final year of his career, or of his contract, in the final year of his contract. I don't know how the Chiefs could look at that running back room and see the bevy of running backs that were available in this year's draft class and pass on all of them every single time. And there were certain inflection points in this year's draft class that I was pretty sure, this is where they take a running back. When they went back-to-back D-line choices, sure, you want to take the first one where you get Norman Lott out of Tennessee, but then when you spent the D-line on the 63rd overall pick, I thought when you doubled back at 66, we're about to take a premium skill position player. Nope, we took another defensive lineman. Now, this might upset some of you. There's no way that both of them work. It's the draft. You miss on draft picks. The Chiefs are not going 8 for 8 in the draft. They're going to miss on picks, and that's fine. You expect to miss on picks. It's not a big deal that the Chiefs missed on Darian Kennard. It's not a big deal that the Chiefs missed on Lucas Niang. That's going to happen in the draft. One of those 2 defensive linemen that they got, whether it's the one from Tennessee or the one from Louisville, one of them is not going to work. Now, maybe you're just trying to shoot as many shots as you can, get as many lottery tickets as you want, and we want to come away with productive players on the defensive line. Sure. But I hear constantly that the goal of this organization is to protect Patrick Mahomes. It's not to give him one of the better run games and take the pressure off of him through that avenue. The best way to keep your quarterback upright, to not get him hit, is to turn around and hand the ball off to a guy that you think could run for 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards, 1,200 yards. They're not interested in having those kind of guys on their team. Were they so burnt by the experience of Clyde Edwards-Helaire that they have completely shifted in the exact opposite direction, and now they spend no resources on running back. They don't spend it in free agency, and they don't spend it in the draft. It's confusing to me. Maybe I'm beating a dead horse, and maybe you guys don't care about this, but the frustration to me that the Chiefs have one of the most valuable players, if not the most valuable player in the NFL, and seem to not see a value in giving him one of the better run games in the National Football League is confusing to me, especially when this was the time to do it. You didn't have to spend a bunch of resources to go do it. Nobody's asking you to go get Saquon Barkley in free agency. We're not asking you to go get Derrick Henry in free agency. You couldn't have spent a 4th-round pick on a running back this year? They couldn't have spent a 3rd-round pick on a running back this year? Got Dylan Sampson, a guy that I think could run for 1,000 yards in this year's class, 1,100 yards in this year's class? It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it. I want this on the record that I was against how they handled running back this year. And during the season, we'll see if I'm wrong. But history will tell you they're going to probably have some injury concerns with a couple of their backs. Are you trusting Isaiah Pacheco to stay healthy for 17 weeks? Are you trusting Elijah Mitchell to stay healthy for 7 weeks? They're going to be in a position where we're going to wish that they spent more time and more resources at running back, and they seem to disregard it at every single turn that they had a chance to try to improve the room this offseason.
So me and you see this a little different, but not all that differently. I don't mind them waiting on running back. If it is as deep of a class as you tell me, and by you I mean the Mel Kipers of the world, the Daniel Jeremiahs of the world, Jay Binkley, whoever is your go-to draft analyst, all of them were saying deep, 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 deep. If it's that deep, there are good running backs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. There are. You don't have to waste a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick on one. So I don't mind them being patient. There were 2 times that I was a little surprised the Chiefs didn't make a move for running back. And we just see the times differently. I'm actually not surprised, nor am I upset that in round 3 they didn't spring. Get a D tackle, get a D end, get a whatever in round 2 and 3, get a corner, get those guys, and do not waste time running back early. I was surprised they traded up in the 5th round to go get a linebacker. That's when I thought it was going to be running back time. At that point, I'm pretty sure Ollie Gordon was still on the board. I'm pretty sure DJ Giddens was still on the board. I know for a fact Devin Neal was on the board. They trade up in the 5th round. They got the Bassa kid from Oregon. And I thought that was the moment. Hey, it's a deep class, but a lot of the explosive players are still there. It's round 5. It's time. They didn't. Now, time will tell who's right. But I like the idea, the thought, the process by Brett Veach and co. of this is a deep class at a low-value position. We're going to take a low-value pick, and we think because the depth of the class, the guy we're getting in the 7th round might be a 5th or 6th round talent in other classes, and we might have a little bit of a steal in Bashard Smith. So I don't dislike the process. I was surprised they waited as long as they did, but if it's as deep as a position, you can find value later than in a normal draft. So I didn't dislike it the same way you did. I was surprised they waited till the 7th round, but I have no issue with it conceptually.
Someone on the text line says, CDOT, if you were to draft a running back, which drafted player do you forego? Rob and I are on the same page. Now, this Jeffrey Bassa kid might turn out to be a very productive player. They drafted a linebacker that he's just not going to get a lot of sacks. And some of that is just their defense and the scheme that they run. If there is one thing that I think the Chiefs have, they got a lot of see-ball, hit-ball linebackers who are rotational pieces. That was the time, in my opinion, when they moved up in the draft class and they moved up to pick 156. That was the time that I would have taken a running back. So they moved up to 156, and they took this linebacker. Now, I know that some of this, maybe you have to move up a little bit more, but you probably could have. In that range, Jordan James went off the board, the running back from Oregon. Jaden Blue went off the board. He was Texas' best running back last year. DJ Giddens, you guys are super familiar with him. He went 5 picks before this linebacker went. Ollie Gordon went pick 179. Devin Neal went 184. Mullings, who was the #1 running back on Michigan last year, he went 188. A running back, the starting running back from Patrick Mahomes' alma mater, went 193. There was a window right there where the Chiefs, you didn't have to spend a premium pick, and I probably would have spent a higher pick on a running back. I maybe would have drafted one in the 3rd round. That's not where they decided to go. But I do think there was a window there where you could have got more explosive at the position, and they just simply chose not to go get one of those backs. Now, ultimately, we have to see if they're right or they're wrong. But someone on the text line says, C-Dot, maybe they want to go get Nick Chubb. If there's one thing I am tired of the Chiefs doing, I don't want them to do it anymore. Nick Chubb last year averaged 3.3 yards per carry, and he's 29 years old. And he has an extensive injury history. I don't want them to go get these running backs anymore. I don't want them to go get any more running backs who were really good in 2018 and 2019, who have a long injury history, who are going to be 30 years old at any point this season. This was the time to get away from that and get a 22-year-old running back who's going to be on the team long term that you can build around, that has some young legs, some juice. Not a guy who has 1,500 carries in his career. No. So I don't want Nick Chubb on this team. They already have Nick Chubb on this team. They have 2 or 3 Nick Chubbs. So that's just not what I would have done. I don't have many complaints about how they handled their draft. I like their draft. I really do. Maybe it doesn't sound like I like their draft. I like their draft. I like Joshua Simmons. It makes sense to me to go get the pass rusher when you got Norman Lott in that 2nd round. I probably wouldn't have drafted the D tackle from Louisville right after taking the defensive end. I probably would have went running back there, but I'm not going to be mad at you taking a defensive tackle that looks to be a run stuffer that kind of replaces Deshaun Wharton, and you put him there in the middle. That's a fine position to me. You know I'm always going to be on the side of you going to get corners, especially one that led the country in interceptions last year and looks like he could be a potential ball hawk, especially in this defense. The Chiefs made a lot of really solid selections, and Daniel Jeremiah said that this was a starter draft. I think they drafted a couple of future starters for this year's draft class. My frustration is if you believe that protecting Patrick Mahomes is paramount, well, handing the ball off to a quality running back is one of the ways to protect him. That's one of the ways to do it. You give the ball to a guy that you're going to give the ball to 200, 225 times, and that's a guy that you think can get you 4.6 to 5.1 yards per carry. That's a way to protect your quarterback, and the Chiefs they don't seem to value it anymore. They did at a time. I mean, this was the same organization that spent the top 100 pick on Kareem Hunt. This is the same organization that spent the top 35 pick on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That time is just over. They are looking for bargain basement, $3 million a year, 7th-round pick running backs. They don't value the position anymore. That's where we are with the Chiefs. We'll get back to the Chiefs draft coming up in just a little bit. Let's talk about the top story of the draft, which I think the top story is Shadur Sanders. I think that all of us are culpable in a lot of ways for this. All of us. Let's start with the media, because I think it has to start with the media. Some of this, and I would say a lot of this, is our doing. We built up a 4th and a 5th round pick and made him into a celebrity and a star. That's what we've done. Through mock drafts, through conversation, through a lot of things, we turned Shadur into something that his game clearly suggests that he's not. A year ago, after the draft, you could have bet on Shadur Sanders to be the number 1 overall pick. It was at plus 100. I bet you if we go back and we look at mock drafts, we look at Mel Kiper and Todd McShay and Daniel Jeremiah and the people that do this for a living, they were telling you a year ago that Shadur was going to be a top 5, top 10 pick, maybe a player that goes number 1 overall in the draft. There's a couple of different kind of mock drafts. There's one that are complete entertainment. They're fiction. They're fan fiction is what they are. They have no nothing. They're just for you to click on and read and find interesting. And that's cool. I read them. We all read them. Hey, what do they think next year is going to happen in the draft? Don't take those seriously. But I think once we get closer to the draft, you start to see more and more, oh, this is based on information based on what you are hearing. You got sources. This is a business that runs on information. Adam Schefter's job is to relay information. Ian Rappaport, their job is to know what's going on in the league and then relay that information to us. And as we've gotten deeper and deeper into this process, I think we started to learn the information that we got back was not good about Shadur. And the league didn't feel that way about him as a prospect. We are guilty in this. We built up a player to something that he's not. I've thought this from the beginning with Shadur. He is a above marginal talent. He doesn't have incredible speed, doesn't have incredible strength, doesn't have great arm strength, but you can be a good quarterback. But I think we built him up to be a top 5 pick, an elite prospect. He's not that. A lot of this is also on Shadur and his people. They treated it like he was an Instagram model. You're not. You're a 6. I'm sure every fella can identify with this analogy. Have you ever met a girl and she was cute, she was fine, but she was just really high maintenance and really difficult to deal with? In the back of your mind, you're thinking, you're not cute enough to act the way that you act. Like, you really got a very high opinion of yourself. I mean, you cute, but you not all that. That's the way Shadur acted as a prospect. I was going back and listening to clips because, you know, the internet loves to pull up clips and things that you said and things that you did. Dion is talking about Shadur being a top 4 pick and says that he's going to dictate where he goes and that they're going to pull an Eli Manning. I also firmly believe that Shadur and his team tanked interviews. I believe they were behind the scenes trying to manipulate. No, I don't want to go here. I do want to go here. I do want to go here. You can't do that if you're a mid-round pick. You know what Shadur should have done this entire time? He should have kept his head down and treated it like you were a mid-round pick. And maybe that's asking a lot. But you know what Shadur should have done? He should have went to the combine. Cam Ward wasn't going to be there. Travis didn't participate. Ashton Genty didn't participate. You would have been the star of the combine. Go to the combine on national TV and wow people. People that don't think physically you are a good enough player, and go out there and prove them wrong. Do all the drills. Do the cone drills. Do the bench press. Do all of those things. Interview and test well and change people's perception of you. Go to the Senior Bowl and dominate. You didn't want to do that. You didn't want to do all of the work that a mid-round draft pick has to do. All right, well, then you got to start interviewing well. Well, you didn't really interview well. There is not a single report that Shadur had a good interview. I don't think there is some wide conspiracy on Shadur. I don't think people like him. And usually, if you are in a job interview and the person interviewing doesn't like you, they don't hire you. That's not how this works. I think Shadur rubbed a lot of people the wrong way throughout this entire process. And the NFL will usually put up with a lot. They usually put up with a lot if you're really good at something. There's NFL players that have killed people. Jalen Carter killed somebody. He might be the best defensive player under 25 in the league. So they'll put up with it. You know what? It wasn't that big of a deal. That's how they act. You can get away with some stuff if you're really good at the football. They don't think Shadur is really good at the football. So if you're not really good at the football and they don't like you, you are not getting drafted very high. And that's the message that they sent. But I think this is important to note with Shadur. Very, very important to note with Shadur. It doesn't matter where you get drafted. There's countless examples of players who were underdrafted, overdrafted, wherever it is, that still ended up being good football players. Your draft position does not determine the kind of pro you will be. How you perform and react once you get there will determine how good of a pro you can be. I know it sounds weird. I actually think Cleveland was the best possible place for him. Look at that quarterback room. You've got Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shadur Sanders. There is a chance that Shadur starts in the NFL this upcoming season. I don't know what week, I don't know what game, but we all know how this NFL thing works. You got 2 veterans there on the roster. Let's say that Kenny Pickett starts. Let's say Joe Flacco starts. I don't want to argue with you guys. Let's say that Joe Flacco starts week 1. Joe Flacco will probably be, Joe Flacco. He'll throw some interceptions. He'll be all right. The Browns will be 2-5. And we all know the media will ask for it. The fans will ask for it. Their offense needs a spark. And we want to see one of the young guys. We might as well play one of the young guys. Shadur Sanders can be one of those young guys. But now comes the really hard part. Now it's doing the work. I have had this question about Shadur from the very, very beginning. This is not hindsight being 2020. Do you want to be famous or do you want to be a football player? Because you can be a football player and be famous. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, very famous. Sits courtside, can do whatever he wants to do. I mean, Tom Brady, very famous. Peyton Manning, very famous. You have never questioned if Patrick Mahomes cares about football. You've never thought for a second that Patrick Mahomes cares more about the off-the-field stuff than he does the on-the-field stuff. I don't know if that's the case with Shadur. Shadur, after not being drafted in round 1, had a concert afterwards. Can you imagine that? You thought you were going to be the 3rd pick. You thought you could be the 9th pick, the 21st overall pick. You didn't get drafted in day 1, and then you think, let me hop up on this stage? That was your first inclination after not getting drafted in round 1? There's some maturity that needs to happen there. There's going to be some humbling. There has to be some realization. The league just told you they don't think you're good enough to do this. So ultimately, it is up to you. Are you going to prove people wrong? You will be given a chance. You might not be given a second chance, but you will get a chance to start in this league. Most players do. You get 1 or 2 opportunities, and what you make of that opportunity is your own. But now it's time to put the watch down, put your SoundCloud page down, put all of this nonsense down, and go be a football player. And go dominate and play at a high level and prove people wrong. People that openly want to see you fail. The internet spent the weekend laughing at you for being drafted. Prank calls laughing at you falling in the draft. If you can't use that as motivation to come out and prove people wrong, then it's time for you to go be an Instagram influencer. That's what it's time for you to go be. It's time for you to go be a SoundCloud rapper who spits average bars and be an Instagram influencer. You are about 2.5 years away, maybe sooner, from being that. We'll get back to the Chiefs draft coming up in just a bit. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that, and often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just 2 deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks. You know, like us.
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey Bank and Cross First Bank. Together, we'll help ensure your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. Busey Bank and Cross First Bank. Member FDIC.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Legacy Box is offering a 60% discount. Order yours today and take advantage of our best Mother's Day sale ever. Visit legacybox.com/value and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. legacybox.com/value.
The Peace Lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This afternoon, expect a partly sunny day with a high of 81.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Our recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI will find you the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Hey Kansas City, it's Michael Waka. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
I'm going to go back and I want to read a couple of these texts. Text line 913-586-7965. Someone asked a question about Bashard Smith. C-Dot, what do you not like about him? He was 4th in total yards last year. Dude seems like a perfect fit. I guess this would be my issue more with Bashard Smith than anything. Over the last 15 years, there has been one running back who was drafted in the 7th round that ran for 1,000 yards. I just think if you were going to spend that late resource on a running back, there is a noticeable ceiling on the kind of player that he can be. We all think Isaiah Pacheco is a good player, but I think we also now can kind of see some of the limitations that come with Isaiah Pacheco, who I would say, if we are going back and I pulled up the last 27th round running backs who got selected, Isaiah Pacheco was probably near the top of those. You got some of you guys, I don't want to say all of you guys, some of you guys don't think he's the best running back on this roster. So my issue with Bashard Smith more than anything is you just took a very minimal swing, and I'm not really sure if it's going to pay the dividends that it would have if you had just spent a little bit more of a resource and drafted a running back that was in the top 150. Like if I ask you guys, who do you think turns out to be a better back, Smith or Giddens? You guys saw DJ Giddens for 3-4 years at K-State. Who do you think turns out to be a better running back? I'm going to guess that DJ Giddens turns out to be a better back. Devin Neal, who got drafted by the Saints, who do you think turns out to be a better back? Those guys were there. My question about Smith as a player would be, A, for 3 years, you were a backup. Like, you were at Miami, you didn't really play at Miami, and you were a backup. I mean, the 3 years before this past year at SMU, he ran for 23 yards, 22 yards, and 132 yards his first 3 years at Miami. He caught the ball a little bit out of the backfield. He then transferred this past year to SMU. He had a dynamic season at SMU. 235 carries, 1,300 yards, 5.7 yards per carry, caught the ball out of the backfield a little bit, and then you look deeper at the box score. Rob, they played BYU. BYU was a playoff contender, right? BYU was one of the best teams in the country this past year. He ran for 75 yards against them. They played Penn State, one of the best defenses in college football this past year. You want to know how he did against Penn State? 18 carries for 62 yards, 3.4 yards per carry, didn't score a touchdown in those games. So I'm simply looking at his box score. He was really good against Boston College last year, was really good against Florida State. The teams that you think are good college football teams, he wasn't that great in those games. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a bad pro or a great pro. I think he will just end up being fine. And they had an opportunity to be better than fine at running back. They had a chance, I believe, out of this 5th through 6th round pick. We can even expand it out a little bit more if you want to. There's going to be a 4th or 5th round pick running back that runs for 1,000 yards this season. One of those running backs that we have been talking about for the last couple of months, they are going to run for 1,000 yards this season. And we're going to look back and think, man, like, the Chiefs had a chance to get Bucky Irving. Like, why didn't they get Bucky Irving? He was sitting right there for him. That player will find itself in the draft, and I just don't think it's the one that they got. I don't think they think it's the one they got. I'm assuming he'll help a little bit. He'll be in a rotation with those other guys. They had a chance to go get a number 1 back in this year's draft class, and I don't think that realistically you can feel like you got that with the 223rd pick. You got another rotational piece. A rotational piece that can help you a little bit in special teams, and we'll see if he ends up being a plus player for you. That's what I think they ended up getting. Rob, was there a running back that you wanted as you saw the board kind of fall together?
I mean, the bias in me obviously wants Devin Neal. Like, come on now. Devin Neal's my guy. But if you want my honest, objective, who I think the Chiefs should have picked answer, it's Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson. Now, maybe the Chiefs scouts and Brett Veach and who's the guy talking today? Ryan Smith, Ryan Nutt, like maybe all those guys and Andy Reid, they looked at Dylan Sampson's tape and they said, he is a product of Josh Heupel's system. It's not him. That's very possible. They're never going to comment on that, but it's likely that's probably what happened. But when I see Dylan Sampson, I see a guy who can catch the ball a little bit, which is super important in Andy Reid's offense. I see a guy who can run the ball, and I see a guy who maybe put a little weight on his body with a year of development, which any running back would have had in 2025 because of the way their room shakes out. He can be an every down explosive back starting in 2026 for this team. So my bias, my KU sunglasses aside of Devin Neal, my answer was Dylan Sampson. And I was surprised Dylan Sampson kept dropping. A lot of the mocks had him in round 3 or 4. He was sitting there in 4, 5, and 6. I thought for sure we were going to get the Dylan Sampson news when they trade up for the linebacker from Oregon, Jeffrey Bassa.
I do want to note that Bashard Smith was a wide receiver when he was at Miami. His wide receiver numbers were he had 14 catches for 199 yards as a freshman, 33 catches for 308 yards as a sophomore. He had 22 catches for 263 yards. So he was not a prospect at wide receiver. They then converted him to running back and ended up having a pretty good year last year at SMU. I do want to note that point. I want to play this audio for you guys. This is Mike Renner. We had him on the show last week. Shout out to Mike Renner. Here he giving his draft grade for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I got an A too. They had 3 guys who I think are just absolutely perfect fits for what they need. One's Josh Simmons. I think if he's healthy, if that patellar is fully back this year, he is as good as the guys we saw come off the board 25 picks earlier. And then Noel Williams is a Steve Spagnuolo corner. He wants to get feisty. He wants to press. He wants to ruin your day as a wide receiver. And then the 4th round, Jaylen Royals just keeps this speed going. This is a dynamic receiving core now. He had the fastest 10 split of any wide receiver at the combine. You see that on his tape. He just had such a weird usage there and got hurt this past year. But he was on pace for almost 1,500 yards this season before he got hurt.
I would say of all of the selections that the Chiefs made, the one that I am most confident in, the one that I am most sure, that's going to work, is Jaylen Royals. If you listen to the way they talk, they are calling him Rashee Rice-like. We have seen that style, that caliber of wide receiver. We've seen it now work back-to-back times in this offense. Underneath, across the middle, drag routes, crossing routes, get the ball in your hands. We've seen that receiver work. I also think that they are in a great position to bring him along slowly, and unless injuries happen the way that it did last season, you are not anticipating on Royals being a focal point of your offense. Like if we sit here and we had to make a list, how many of their skill position players do you think are ahead of Royals coming into this season? It's probably 5, 6, 7 potentially. So I think he's in a really good position to kind of sit back, learn. I think he'll make a couple of big plays that end up help shifting a game in Kansas City's favor. And you are counting on this being much more of a year 2, year 3 asset. And just, if you hear the way that people talk about him and the kind of prospect that he is, the speed that he has, what his strengths are, how I think they line up with this offense, I feel pretty confident about the Jaylen Royals. I'm always going to be on the side of skill position players and putting more things around Mahomes. But taking that swing in the 4th round on Jaylen Royals, I mean, that's what you want to do. You take a pick on a guy that some people thought could be there in the 2nd round, could maybe go in the 3rd round. He falls, at least on people's draft boards, he falls to the 4th round. You take a swing on a guy's measurables. You take a swing on a guy's feel for the game, and then you factor him into the offense. I would say one thing that this regime has never really developed. They haven't really developed a 3rd or 4th wide receiver option. They've gone out in free agency and found that player, but they've never found the guy that can come in, have 500-600 yards, be pretty consistent in that role, help you in special teams on a rookie contract. I think they potentially found that players in Royals. So there's some things that I love about this year's draft class. There's some things that I think are missing in this draft class. But if you had to ask me right now, if I had to bet on 3 years from now, who do we think makes the biggest contribution to this team? Who is able to really help this team? I think the Royals is going to be near the top of that list. I really like that pick, and I think they got really good value in the 4th round. Coming up on the other side, Binkley's going to join us in studio. We'll get his thoughts on the Chiefs draft. We'll also get his thoughts on Shadur Sanders. That was falling in this one. Keep it right here, so Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
For the first time in a long time, I'm willing to dream that this can be a special season for the Missouri Tigers.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education, but that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
14 grand. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line, or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory's moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away, so the One can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? Call Jay Southland Tow Service, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments. They can do it all. Be in the know and call Jay's Southland Tow.
This May and June, the other place, in conjunction with Anheuser-Busch, will be raising money for Folds of Honor. Every Bud Light, Budweiser, or Bud Zero sold, $1 will be donated back to Folds of Honor from the other place, up to $5,000. And one lucky recipient from the Kansas City area will be awarded a $5,000 scholarship. Together, let's help get this done. Stop by the other place, Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton, or check out theotherplace.com.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
At Metal by the Foot, we pride ourselves on delivering the highest quality metal to meet your exact needs. Located in Casey and Topeka, online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
Hey, it's Cole Riggins, and this is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Royals baseball.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
This is the part about Shadur Sanders, and I want to talk to Bink about it, but I don't want to do it yet. C-Dot, Shadur was definitely a first-round pick. When the Mannings or Elways dictated what teams they were going to play for, it was cricket. What makes it different now? Shadur Sanders is not Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, or John Elway as a prospect. He's not. I don't know why we live in this world, and we know that some people get treated differently because of their abilities. I don't know why we try to, because he's better than you are. He's more special than you are. There's some players that if that tape had come out when Tyreek Hill got the tape, the Chiefs would have cut him instantly. We're not cutting Tyreek Hill instantly. There's some players on the Chiefs that can't get a DUI. If Patrick Mahomes got a DUI, I'm guessing they're not releasing him if that happens. I'm going to guess that's the case. So if you're asking, well, what makes Shadur different than Peyton Manning? He ain't Peyton Manning. Yes, Peyton Manning could tank some interviews. He was still going to go top 5 in the draft. Shadur, when you're a mid-level prospect, you should be on your best behavior. You weren't.
He just went out and got Drew Rosenhaus as agent today, did he? I think he just went out and hired him as his agent. Boy, that'll be a fun combination.
All right, Bink, let's start with this. Now, I have not heard this. Rob told me this. Rob told me you do not like the Chiefs draft class. Is that true?
No,
accurate?
It's not true.
Okay, I'm just telling you what I heard. I didn't hear it.
I don't like the first pick. I like day 2 and day 3.
Okay.
A lot. A lot of these players I liked. Of day 1, not so much. Day 2 and 3, I did.
All right, let's start with day 2 then, because we talked to you a little bit about Simmons, and we can obviously double back on Simmons. What do you like about their day 2 selections? They went out and they really loaded up on defense. They got 2 defensive linemen, and they also picked up a corner.
Yeah, I mean, would I like to see them go offensive heavy? Yes, but these actual players they got on defense are actually very good. Omar Norman-Lott's very interesting. Just played a rotation when he was at Tennessee, but a great pass rusher, like 18.9% win rate. I mean, the guy can get there even on his limited snaps. 129 snaps in pass protection. Ashton Gelati is very interesting. This guy is a lot like George Karlaftis. in how he goes. And it's just not me saying it or somebody writing about it. His actual head coach that joined us this weekend, Jeff Brom, who played in the NFL, who coached both Karlaftis at Purdue, then he went to Louisville, and he made that comparison with that. Matter of fact, they've been in contact with each other even before he was drafted as far as Karlaftis and Gelati. He led the nation in pressures. So you see a theme here. So you have the highest win rate with Norman Lott. You see Gelati, the most pressures in college football. So you see like a theme of what the Chiefs were doing. Listen, they were 18th in sacks last year. They were number 2 in sacks the 2 previous years that they won a Super Bowl. Didn't win this year, slipped to 18th. They want to get after the quarterback. It's extremely important. And Noah Williams, the cornerback out of California, absolutely love this pick from the Chiefs. This guy that can start with them for day one.
I'll be the pessimist here. We know how the draft works. Norman Lott and Gelati, they both don't work. One of those guys misses. That's kind of how the draft works.
It's how it works.
You take 2 swings, and you're hoping that one of those guys turns out to be a potential starter
I
for
will
you
say
guys.
this, with Norman Lott, would you hope you have like Mike Dana type of success, just a guy that comes in here that no one's expecting anything. Don't forget when Mike Dana was at Central Michigan, very highly regarded player. He transferred to Michigan, wasn't even invited to the combine, but the Chiefs still threw a dart at him in the draft and turned out to be good, a good pick for him. Gelati's got that. Felix better watch out because this guy I can see getting a lot more playing time than Felix on the defensive line getting to the quarterback. I actually like their day 2 picks. I can actually see all 3 of these guys playing significant roles.
I mean, there's no Felix.
Not starting except for Nolan Williams.
There's no Felix needs to watch out. If a 3rd-round draft pick takes Felix's job as he is heading into year 3 after you have been given multiple redshirt years, there is no watch out. You're not an NFL player.
Maybe not, but I think certainly that Gelati's a better player at that perspective than Felix at this point, to be honest with you. So, yes, I think this guy will borrow some playing time from Felix.
I think it's kind of clear that the Chiefs just have a type. Like, if you look at Jaylen Royals, and I want to get to him more extensively in a bit, like, he fits the kind of receiver that they like. We're going to play the scout audio where he says, he reminds me of Rashee Rice. Well, we know that's a kind of build, a kind of style of receiver that they like. When I look at Noah Williams, I mean, this is the kind of receiver that they have just had a lot of success with. And what really excites me about this pick is I look at the depth that they have now in that room and how young they all are. You got Trent McDuffie. You pick up Christian Fulton. You add Williams. You got Joshua Williams. You got Jalen Watson. Like, you got 6 or 7 really strong options at corner where of all the rooms in their building, this is the one that I think could handle some attrition where an injury happens, and they should be able to maintain a really high level
Yeah, I
of
mean,
play.
they could go out and get Jalen Watson in the 7th round. Here's the 3rd round of Noel Williams. Keep this in mind, too, about Noel. He led college football in interceptions last year. He actually picked off Cam Ward in a game when Cal played Miami this year. He had 9 pass breakups, tied for 3rd in FBS. I mean, he's very good around the ball, but he's an extremely good tackler. He comes up and makes hits. Not afraid of that. He had an 80-yard kickoff return, too. So they got several guys in this class that can return kicks. And I know that was important for the Chiefs because they mentioned it several times when the guy can return kicks because teams are loading up now because the ball is going to be spotted at 35. And even the return rate did go up last year with the new kickoff rules, which I do hate, but they will be moving it back to the 35-yard line. But Noel Williams, I really like it. All these guys have that toughness factor about them, but again, they all led the nation in something. Like, that means something to them. And I love Noel Williams' coach, Kevin Wilcox, that joined us, or Justin Wilcox, and he's a former defensive coordinator in college football and head coach at Cal. He said, hey, there's 2 categories of football players, and this stuff means something. He goes, those are the guys that want to be a football player, like being a football player, and those that want to play the sport of football. Meaning, there's a bunch of guys that, hey, man, they like everything that comes with being a football player, right? Get you some money, get you attention. And then there's the guys like this that go to work, they're all about business, and they just love the sport of football. And I thought that was pretty interesting when he said that.
That's how I feel about Shadur. Do you want to be a football player or do you want to be famous?
No, I agree with you to some extent because that's one good question, and that's why that's become such a prevalent question when it comes to college football players. How much do you actually like playing, or do you just like the sport? Do you like just being famous? Do you like everything that comes about it, or are you that type of guy? Let me play this for you, just 20 seconds. This is the head coach of Cal about Noel Williams. I thought this was very interesting what he said.
There's 2 categories. There's guys that love being a football player and guys that love playing football. He's a guy that loves playing football, whether it's 1-on-1s or 7-on-7, Tuesday practice. And
see, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator at Wisconsin, at Tennessee, at USC, and of course he's been the head coach at Cal. But that was interesting because that's true. I mean, I think we can look at players and say, does he just like being a football player, or does he actually like playing football?
Do you think that Jaylen Royals is going to help them this year? Because I do like this pick, but I'm just thinking about best case scenario if everything works out. Now, I understand building for depth. An injury is going to happen. You want to have somebody that can step in. But I would say they drafted 3 offensive players. I think there is a world in which none of those 3 players are major contributors for the Chiefs this upcoming season. Simmons might be a backup all year, break in case of emergency. Royals might be their 4th or their 5th wide receiver for this year. Smith might be, their 3rd or 4th running back this year. Like, there is a chance that all 3 of their offensive picks are more for 26 or 27 than they are for helping them in this upcoming season. Is there a world in which Royals is a major contributor this year that is not centered around injuries happening?
It would be injuries. It would be what you said, without injuries happening. Because last year would have been needed when Hollywood Brown goes out for the year, basically till the very end, when he gets hurt in preseason snap 1 against, or play 1 against Jacksonville, and then when Rasheed Rice gets hurt against Los Angeles, all of a sudden Xavier Worthy had to step up. And it was kind of a luxury how Worthy was drafted. Yeah, first rounder, but you got Hollywood Brown on the team. It's very similar skill set. And Rasheed Rice is here. You remember he was having trouble like catching the ball on the sidelines, like knowing time and space placement where he was on the field. And things started to change. You know, he became more acclimated. He became Chiefs' leading receiver through the postseason. Like when Sky Moore was drafted, I believe there was some pressure on him. Some pressure to come in because it was their one dart that they threw that night to get him. The next year, the only offensive guys they went was that Friday night when they drafted in Kansas City when they got Rasheed Rice and Wande Morris. And I felt there was a little bit of pressure on Rice to step up and be that guy. And he delivered. Second most catches of any rookie wide receiver in yards and receptions.
I don't think Royals has a lot of pressure this year.
I don't at all. I don't know. That's kind of why I like where he's sitting, because you're sitting right now as the 4th. I mean, you're battling Juju for playing time at this point because you know Worthy's getting his snaps. You're not taking his. You're not taking Rice. You're not, well, if there's a suspension or something that happens, I mean, there could be a lot more playing time for guys like Royals, which this is why you draft these guys. So you have somebody come in and he can return the ball as well, which I think is important. I love this pick for the Chiefs. I'm glad they finally did it because I'm sitting here going, okay, where's receiver? Where's running back? I mean, I love these other players they got on defense. I mean, they got some really quality guys, but you get Patrick Mahomes once. Like in these guys' lifetime, Veach and these guys, their careers, they're going to have a quarterback like that once. This is it. This is it. They're never going to have another quarterback that goes out and has 3 Super Bowl rings and been in the AFC title game every year as a starter. That will never happen again, at least to them.
I think the Chiefs' message that they clearly sent this offseason was, we were going to be really good offensively last year, but injuries derailed us. If you look at how they moved this offseason, at running back, they added Elijah Mitchell, who has been hurt for a large majority of his career, and you spent the 223rd pick on a running back. So you did not spend significant investment to improve that room. When you think about wide receiver, you brought back your own wide receivers. You spent the 123rd pick on a wide receiver this year. The Chiefs' entire offseason kind of had a theme of run it back, bringing back Trey Smith, bringing back Nick Bolton, bringing around some of your offensive pieces. I also think their draft kind of mirrored that same thing. We don't think we need immediate day one help at really anything on offense. We are thinking more for the future. And if we get something from these guys, great. But we are not dependent on getting contribution from any of these players.
I think they're counting on the health of players, to be honest with you, because you look at this team, they weren't explosive offensively. They weren't. They had a ton of one-score games. What's really changed? Like, what's really changed on this offense? It's the same cast of characters, right? Except Jaylen Royals being thrown in there, some Bashard Smith at times. But it's essentially the same team. This is the same team that struggled putting points up on the board and putting teams away. But you remember the St. Joe Chiefs. That was the fun Chiefs. They were airing it out, touchdown, long bombs to Worthy and Brown and Rasheed Rice. They were doing all this. And then all of a sudden these injuries happen, and they're caught in a situation where they had to pivot and become a different, a ball-controlled football team from what they wanted to be. But it's essentially a lot of the same cast of characters, including the offensive line. They may have taken a hit when Joe Tooney leaves and goes to Chicago for what you're going to do on the left side of your line, but it's essentially the same group of players. You're expecting a different outcome from the same group of players. That's why I was kind of hoping they'd go more explosive.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the Chiefs maybe have 2 philosophies that they communicated to us. We just mentioned the first one. We think we had enough in skill position players last year. Injuries just happened. We want to get an opportunity to see what a healthy offense looks like with Rice, Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and the running backs. Also, I mean, it is clear the Chiefs are taking a gamble. We think that having Jaylen Smith and Kingsley Suamataia, or Jaylen Moore, excuse me, we think that Jaylen Moore and Kingsley Suamataia, we think that gives us a better chance than having Joe Tooney play left tackle and having Mike Caliendo play left guard. Because other than that, I mean, the offensive line they had in the Super Bowl from left guard to right tackle is the exact same as it was last year. They have just moved the pieces around on the other side.
And the left side, the most important side, you're dealing with a guy that was a former fifth-round pick from Western Michigan, a Sky Moore teammate, Jaylen Moore, that has 5 NFL starts, and your other option is left tackle you just drafted, who has a patellar knee injury that may or may not even play this year. Looks like he probably will, but what kind of effect are you going to get? And then you're taking a guy that bummed out at left tackle, and you're going to put him at left guard. So, yeah, that's some consistency issues you're worrying about. Then you say, all right, where else can we get better? Can we get more explosive? Well, you drafted receiver, yes, but it was in the 4th round. And right now, it's the 4th guy on your depth chart. You didn't grab anybody that's a 1, 2, or 3. He's not pushing any of those guys out.
Right now, we got Jay Binkley in studio going through the Chiefs draft. I really thought when they drafted the linebacker at 156, I thought that was the time to go running back. You had addressed a majority of your needs at that point, and I thought they were going to be looking for, hey, this is where you go get Devin Neal. This is where you go get DJ Giddens. This is where you go get a Damian Martinez. I was a little surprised that they took a linebacker there and didn't have another pick until 228 when they went to go pick up a running back. I have been kind of banging the drum this entire offseason that there wasn't enough in that room, that they needed to make more investment in the room. I mean, they told us that they don't feel that way. They feel like they got enough in that room. They feel like there's enough there. Do you agree with how they handled running back this offseason?
Well, especially we played the clips out this weekend. It's like, hey, what did Brett V say? We will have a running back probably on the roster from this draft. Like, we're going to have that. I was like, okay, where are they getting him? And luckily, the Patriots keep doing business with the Chiefs. Like, they've been a major trade partner. That's why Trent McDuffie is a Chief, because the Patriots trading. So I think the Chiefs will look at it and say, all right, they're picking 2 picks at the end of the 7th round, including the last pick in the draft. You know what? Bashard's still there. Let's go out and get him. We kind of like him. We kind of like him in a Jet McKinnon type ilk. Maybe we'll move up and get him. They got lucky because 6th round, Taj Brooks goes. He's the all-time leading rusher at Texas Tech. That might have been a guy that they would have been looking at in the 6th round. But, yeah, I mean, it's deep. You know, in other years, Bashard's probably drafted a lot higher, to be honest with you. He's probably a 4th or 5th round pick in other drafts, maybe 4th round. But it was just so deep at the running back class. But, yeah, they got to the 7th round, and I think they said, okay, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? All the great running backs are off the board except for Bashard Smith. We better find a way to get him.
Right now,
your owner went to SMU.
Right now, we got Binkley in studio. Binkley, I want to get your thoughts on Shadur Sanders. I've never asked you this. What do you make of him as a prospect? Are you a fan of his? Where are you at on Shadur?
Well, he helped turn that team around. I mean, he did. It just wasn't Dion doing it. It was him doing it. Needs to be humbled. I mean, the ego and stuff like that's out of control. But that's out of control for a lot of players. But the problem is guys have to like playing for you. Like, players have to like their quarterback, right? Which I think they like him, but focus on the football aspect of the things. And there's a lot of things with his dad, whether he's going to control where he went and how you shouldn't sandbag interviews, which, you know,
I think he sandbagged multiple interviews.
He showed up at the combine, he's placed, but he didn't do anything. He just stood up and, you know, shook everybody's hand like you're a superstar, and you're not, because you didn't do anything. And I'm with you on that. He should have done some things. He's not Austin Gentry, who didn't run at the combine, didn't run his pro day, didn't have to. He's going to pick 6. Big difference. I will say this about Shadur, though. There's some football-type stuff that you have to like about the kid. He delivered. He was sacked 152 times, did not have a running game at Colorado. His offensive line was in shambles, but he proved toughness, which is a real hard thing for quarterbacks sometimes to do. He didn't leave the game. He didn't tap out like Anthony Richardson. He didn't do any of that. He stayed in the game, took his hits. He was hit a ton of times, and he still delivered. Like, he didn't, hey, I'm not playing this game. No, he didn't. And he turned Colorado. Colorado became more of a viable football team than they had been in the past. He's a big part of that. It's just you got to change kind of the perception they should have got a PR coach or something to kind of help him out. Hey, you know, guys don't want to hear your rap music after games, Shadur. You know, they want to hear other music. They don't want to hear Shadur in his music in the postgame. There's just things like that, because you need the players that want to play with you. You need them to like you. Patrick Mahomes is like the perfect example, man. I can't think of a guy that's a superstar, does the things he does. Goes to dinner with these dudes. He shows up with guys at wrestling events, or he brings them to the box at soccer matches or whatever. He plays video games with players, brings them down the text. They're not superstars that are down there at Camp Pat. He brings anybody and everybody down. He treats everybody the same, and that's why players want to play for him. Like, that's the one intangible or quarterbacks have to have, and I don't think he has that.
I think a big thing with Shadur was going to be this. I think it's clear the NFL did not view him as a starting quarterback. If they viewed him as a starting quarterback, they would put up with a lot more than bad interviews. If you don't see him as a immediate starter for you, can he survive in a system that's not about him? You think about high school, both colleges, Jackson State and Colorado, you have been the center of everything there. Your dad's been the coach your entire time. That's not how it's going to be there. And you're also going to be now the most famous backup quarterback in the National Football League.
Drew Rosenhaus. Now, I'm just curious how he's going to deal with life after Dion. Like, how's that going to be any different, not having Dion around? Cleveland, they could have had a situation where they had Travis Hunter still, but they traded those picks away. Could have had Travis Hunter and Shadur. But I do think he went to kind of a good place for him when you're battling out with Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco. Like, there could actually be some playing time for him. But the players have to buy into who and what you are.
I was going to say, that's the pretty crazy part.
And that's the hard part.
That's the crazy part, I think, about all of this is, in the end, I think he got drafted to the right place.
I think so, too. I think Cleveland was the perfect spot for him.
It does not matter where you got drafted. You were in a room now with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel. You will be given every opportunity in the world to go win that job.
Yep.
Go be better than those other three quarterbacks, and maybe you don't get that opportunity day one, but we all know how this works. Cleveland's not making the playoffs this year.
Flacco's going to start. They're going to start off 0-4, 1-5. And then, boom, they're going to say, let's look for the future.
100.
Shadur, we'll see what it's between you and Dylan. Maybe Kenny Pickett thought, we want to go future. We'll see what you got, Shadur. That's what's going to happen.
100%. Shadur Sanders will get an opportunity to start the National
This is a
Football League.
blessing for him to go there.
I think it's the best possible landing spot for him.
Yep.
You got a quarterback-minded head coach in Kevin Stefanski, and you're going to get an opportunity to start later in the season. Now the real work starts.
And a running game. He's never had that, so at least he's got the running game to go with it.
Right now, we got Jay Binkley joining us in studio. If you had to give out a draft grade for the Chiefs, what would you give?
I said B+ the other night when Drew texted me. Obviously, not wild about the first round. Things can change. I mean, if Simmons ends up panning out and is an all-pro type player, it's an A. I think draft grades are way too early when give them out. I mean, just go back to 2017 when Mahomes drafted. It's like C+, C, stuff like that. It's clearly, much better than that. A lot of these players they got, though, were way underdrafted. Like 156 where Bossa goes when Dayton Brugler and stuff happens to them a top 100 player. They've got some dogs, man. They've got some really good players in their draft classes. Maybe different philosophy. Maybe Bashard Davis or Smith pans out for the Chiefs. We'll see. I mean, the guy was a receiver at Miami. Low mileage on the body running the football because they turned him into a running back at SMU. He had been a wide receiver, so he obviously can catch the football, which he did at SMU. We'll see if that pans out. There's some of these guys, if they pan out or not, if they deliver or not. Well, looking back at 2022, and you're looking at Pacheco and Jalen Watson and Najee Johnson in the 7th round, you go, man, this is a great draft, which it was. It was given an A at the time. And it's an A now when you look back at that draft class. I'm not wild about giving out grades. B+ is what I said.
I look at their draft class, and a lot of it is just centered around how good Joshua Simmons turns out to be. Let me ask you this.
That's the big one.
Let's say that Simmons turns out to be Jawan Taylor. He plays his rookie contract with the team that drafted him, and he eventually goes on to leave for more money. How will you view that pick? Because Jawan Taylor, he was good enough to get a significant contract from his second team, but obviously Jacksonville saw something that didn't want to make them sign up long-term and give him that contract. But, Jawan Taylor has been a consistent starter in the league. He has been healthy in the league. Jawan Taylor has been a good draft pick. If that's what Simmons turns out to be, how do you feel about that pick?
I think it's very average at best. I don't think it's above average. It's just average type pick. The penalties definitely are a bad mark on him, leading the NFL in penalties the last 2 years. But the hope would probably be Simmons needs to. The Pro Bowl is easy to get to. You at least got to get to that.
Especially if you play on a prominent team like
if you're an
Kansas City.
All-Pro, even better. Chiefs did buy into it. He went to his pro day, had all of a sudden 34-inch arms. They measured him at the combine. They were 33. Andy Reid's never drafted somebody less than 34. So all of a sudden, those arms grew. This happened to Will Campbell. His arms grew an inch. Jalen Milroe's hands grew half an inch from the combine to the deal. So they need more standard testing, to be honest with you. But this draft, the grade dictates how Simmons finishes, to be honest with you. It could be great. It could be not so great, depending on how Simmons does.
That is our guy, Jay Binkley, joining us in studio to take a closer look at the Chiefs draft. Bink, man, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dot.
Absolutely. Coming up on the other side, Mel Kiper had a long weekend. We'll discuss it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison, your home for the best food takes in KC.
Regular old American nachos. You know, I don't need jalapenos with mine, just chips, cheese.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in Kansas City. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Gear up, race fans. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend is roaring into Iowa Speedway July 11th to the 13th, featuring the only NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader weekend on the 2025 schedule. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend has become one of the most anticipated and action-packed events in racing. Tickets are going fast. Score yours today and get ready to feel the rush at the fastest short track on the planet. Visit IndyCar@Iowa.com for tickets. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend at Iowa Speedway, the ultimate summer racing event.
And Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
When I started watching my favorite team as almost Andy Reid, I couldn't get out of the parking lot due to my new popularity. Renner Garage Door has an offer that's just as popular. $100 maintenance check to keep your door running smooth. Get a free replacement quote. Renner carries top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Family owned since 1956. Call or visit rennerdoor.com. Renner forward and back.
RENNER. Has your home been on the market without success? An expired listing can feel frustrating, but it doesn't have to be the end of your journey. The Sharp Homes team specializes in turning things around. The Sharp Homes team can give you options. Do you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold? Contact them to discuss their instant offer program. In fact, contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleinkc.com and start packing.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out.
Pour down in the rinse straight.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
For New Year's, I wanted to try Ozempic, Wegovy, or other GLP-1 medications everyone's talked about. I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office? office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelty can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelty?
Just send them a text.
Text DATE to 200-300 to get started this New Year's with Zelty. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic for 80 to 90% less. 100% online. Don't wait. Text DATE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text DATE to 200-300. DATE to 200-300.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Northbound 35 just before 670 right there at that Broadway exit, now reopened. Traffic starting to flow through a lot more smoothly, and those backups are starting to ease, although we are still seeing brake lights past the state line. But again, that'll just take some time to even out. And reports of another two-car crash in the far north side of the metro, southbound 35, the exit to 291, stopping traffic. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Be sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, let's talk about Mel Kiper. Now, I have all the respect in the world for Mel Kiper. There are certain people who are associated with the thing that we love. When you think of the NFL, I hear John Madden and Pat Summerall's voice. When you think of college basketball, Dick Vitale, Bill Raftery, college football, you think of Lee Corso. There are certain people who have been very synonymous with their thing. The NFL draft is Mel Kiper's thing. One of the reasons that the draft has grown into the business that it is because of Mel Kiper. One of the reasons that people have 3-round mocks and 5-round mocks is because of Mel Kiper. He founded all of this draft prognostication. He is the OG godfather at this thing. We have to be honest about what Mel Kiper's job is. It is predicting the future. That's really hard to do. It is, I like this player. I think he's a chance to be a good pro. I don't like this player. I don't think he has a chance to be a good pro. That's all he does. He doesn't predict games. All we know Mel Kiper for is telling you how the future is going to go. Well, there have been some players that he has attached his reputation to. One of those players is Jimmy Clausen. He was hell-bent that Jimmy Clausen was going to be a good quarterback. He was not. I don't think people are acknowledging this about Kiper and how he handled the draft. There are only two things that can be true. Mel Kiper had Shadur Sanders as the number 5 player on his board and number 1 quarterback. As you were watching ESPN coverage and they continue to show you Mel's vest available, there's been one player that has been on there for 2.5 days. Other players are going off the board, and that player is just sitting there the entire time. So it poses the question, are you full of it or are they? Both of you cannot be right. You have him as one of the best players in this draft class. The NFL is telling you you're dead wrong about this. And if your job is to be right, if your job is to predict the future, if your job is to tell us what, I understand how that makes you a little bit mad as you are having to answer these questions about how could you be so wrong about a player?
But, Mel, the draft has spoken.
That's right. That's the key, Mel. It's not
It's not putting a value judgment on whether those who cast it right or wrong. They did. Yep. So now, whenever you're in circumstances in life, whether you like them, whether you don't like them, whether they're fair or whether they're unfair, you might have to deal with them.
That's
and
right.
now Shadur Sanders has to deal with it. And for whatever reason, whether he played a minute, microscopic percentage, 0%, or it's a legitimate criticism of the way he conducted himself during the draft process, this was the result. Yeah. Now he has an opportunity to answer it. I think yelling at the NFL about it is not right.
There's not a quarterback. Boomer Esiason was not happy when he was a second-round pick. Tom Brady was not happy. They dropped. How'd they turn out?
And you know what? Nobody's arguing that can happen.
Race, the NFL has been clueless for 50 years when it comes to evaluating quarterback. Clueless. No idea what they're doing in terms of evaluating quarterback. That's proof. There's proof of that.
I don't disagree with Mel a whole lot on that thing. I don't know if Mel's the right person to give that message, but I don't disagree that much with him. I understand why Kiper had the weekend that he had. I do. I get it. I also think that disagreeing is healthy. It's part of sports dialogue. I get why Mel feels the way. This is my livelihood. This is what I do for a living. I get it. Ultimately, we will find out who's right. On one side, the NFL told you, hey, we don't think that he's a starter, and we also don't know if he is worth putting up with all the nonsense that comes with him. We're going to have to say no here. Kiper is telling you the talent is there. Kiper had him as his number one quarterback on the board. I think he's the best quarterback in this year's draft class. History will tell us who's right. That's the beauty of the draft. All of us try to be Mel Kiper. We all think, well, I watch a lot of college football. I watch the NFL. I think I can tell you who's going to be a good pro. We all wear that as a badge of honor. That's not everybody's job. That's Kiper's job. I thought it was great television. I thought it was great theater. It was the story of the draft. This draft is not about Cam Ward. This draft is not about Travis Hunter. This draft is not about Jackson Dart being drafted in round one. This draft is about how we all were so wrong on Shadur. Even if you're somebody who's not high on Shadur, you didn't see him as a fourth-round pick. I mean, I had kind of leveled that he was going to be a second-round pick. All right, hey, he's not going to be round one, but there's enough talent there. He's going to be selected on day two. He'll go early. He didn't go in day two. In fact, he sat 2 whole nights watching the draft and then went on Saturday. The NFL people said, we think Jalen Milroe is better than you. We think that Dylan Gabriel is better than you. We think that Tyler Shuck kid is better than you, and that man is 30. They told you a lot of these other guys are better than you. This is the beautiful thing about sports. This is deep down is what we all love about sports. Eventually, all your questions about a team or a player get answered. If you think a team is in the postseason because of their schedule, the Broncos aren't that good. Oh, they've been beaten up on. Well, you know what? Eventually, you can only run and hide for so long. Eventually, you got to play another good team. You got to play other Super Bowl contending teams. And that will ultimately answer our question on whether or not you're the best. If you think you're really fast, well, they have a competition once every 4 years to determine how fast you really think you are. If you think you're the best swimmer or whatever you think you're the best at, there is usually a competition to prove how good you are. If Shadur is good, now's the time to prove it. It's not in the selection process. It's in you're on a team now. They're paying you millions of dollars to go out there and perform, be better than those guys next to you. And eventually they'll put you in the game. And we'll see if Shadur can be an NFL quarterback or not. So I'm really excited to see how this process turns out with Shadur. It's one of the most interesting storylines in the National Football League. Another interesting storyline, Bill Belichick. Now, I would think that the message over the last couple of weeks is that them young girls are going to get you in trouble. But obviously, older, powerful men are not listening to the message. Bill Belichick went on 60 Minutes and did an interview. He was asked a question. His girlfriend determined he couldn't answer that question.
The other change for Belichick is 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, his creative muse, as he writes in his book.
Make sure that that's good.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan,
right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
Bill, it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough to be sleeping with your publicist. It's got to be tough to be sleeping with your PR director. It's got to be tough to be sleeping with your SID. She's too involved in your life. She's too involved. She makes all the decisions. Is she your girlfriend? Is she your PR person? Is she your handler? What is her role in your life? Because it sounds to me like she has come in and she has taken over and she is determined, I'm going to do it all. You remember when you were a kid, I'm sure you wanted this. There used to be that toy that it could be like an air hockey machine. It could be a foosball table, and you could play pool. You could get 3-in-1, Fisher Price, $100. Oh my goodness, it was a magical Christmas if you got one of those. Bill Belichick married one of those. She decided, I'm going to be all of it. I'm going to be the foosball table, the pool table, and the air hockey table. Bill, good luck, man. That's all I got to say. Good luck. He called that woman a creative muse, is what he called her. Bill was so unhappy in that last relationship. I know he was. Bill was unhappy, walking around with his hoodies all cut up, frowning, mad all the time. This young girl sat him down, and they watched New Girl on Netflix, changed his life. Bill is smiling in ways. Bill Belichick has been in our lives 40, 50 years. I've never seen him smile. That man's smiling from ear to ear now. She changed that man's life. Whatever she got, I don't want none of it. I don't want it. She got a spell on Bill Belichick. Free him. Free Bill. I'm telling you, it's some powerful sorcery at work that she got on Bill. Oh, we're not answering that. We ain't interviewing you. We're interviewing him. I didn't ask you to be here. Bill, good luck, man. Keep your head up. That's all I got to say. Keep your head up. Coming up on the other side, we'll get back to the Chiefs draft. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
At Busey Bank and Cross First Bank, we're partnering together to help make your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth and partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. Busey Bank and Cross First Bank. Member FDIC.
Don't miss your chance to bet on all the clutch shots and legendary performances with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props, and now you can make a heads-up play with player performance trends. That means whether you want to bet on a player to score 30 points or put up a triple-double, you can check out the latest stats and see who's hot without leaving the app. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. And if you don't already have FanDuel, playoff time is the perfect time to join. You'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So visit FanDuel.com/Alex to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First on the real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexspyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Spies KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. Here's the best part. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy? They'll come back between visits to make it right. Don't wait. Head to truegreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
Robsite Ford. Non-commissioned staff, low prices, best trade-ins, and the biggest selection. Visit robsite.com.
Shopping for a new Ford? Go where it's easy. Robsite Ford. Non-commissioned staff, huge trade-in values, and Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer. Robsite Ford. ROBSIGHT.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
2-car crash cleared at northbound 35 to Broadway. Traffic clearing up as well. We are still seeing a stalled out car on the right shoulder of southbound 435, the exit to 40 highway on the right shoulder, just a few delays. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Welcome to your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, coming up at the top of the hour, Nate Taylor is going to join us on the show. We'll get his reaction to the Chiefs draft. All right, let's hear from their director of player personnel. Here he is talking about the wide receiver they got in the 4th round, Jaylen Royals.
When I say he's like Rasheed, he's got big hands, strong hands, and he's very good after the catch. And you saw him downfield too on some of those clips. I'm sure you saw. I mean, the kid had 50 plus touchdowns in 2023. He was on record, or he was on pace in 2024 to kind of smash the 2023 production before he got injured. So we thought rack is a big part of our offense. That's something we look for in receivers. I mean, we look for speed. The kid had that 4.40. We look for strength. He has that, and he's got rack. And we look for route running, and that's probably an area where Rasheed had to kind of develop a little bit. So we kind of thought they were similar in that respect. But he came on the scene. We watched his tape before the Senior Bowl. Brett will kind of pick guys that you pick and choose, and we're like, hey, this guy's kind of interesting. Then he goes to the Senior Bowl, and we thought he did well. So he got even more on the radar. Then he goes to the combine. He runs a 4.40. You know what I mean? And he jumps to 36, and we're like, oh, this kid's explosive. And then you get the kind of coaches involved, and we Zoom them and we talk, and we're like, yeah, we could use this kid. And with Rasheed coming back from injury and trying to get right, the hopes are, this kid can step in and try to get some playing time and help us out.
I don't have anything critical to say about them drafting Jaylen Royals. I'm reading his NFL draft prospect grade on NFL.com if you want to check it out. It all checks out very well. At the combine, he ranked 8th in production. In athleticism, he ranked 11th. Total score, he was the 6th best wide receiver that went to the combine. They see his prospect grade as someone who can eventually become a starter. I then look at some of his strengths, weaknesses, what they think he can do. Sounds like a Chiefs receiver. And to get that player in the 4th round, to get that player with the 133rd overall pick, I mean, that sounds good to me. I don't have much complaint about the Jaylen Royals selection. I don't really know how you could. He sounds like your prototypical mid-round draft pick. We like a lot of his skill sets. He reminds us of a player that we already have, a player that we've already had a lot of success with. We're going to allow him the opportunity to develop and see if he can help us. They don't need Jaylen Royals this year if they stay healthy. You've got Rashee Rice. You got Xavier Worthy. You got Juju Smith-Schuster. You got Hollywood Brown. You got a bevy of running backs and tight ends. They don't need Jaylen Royals to go out there and have 600 yards receiving this year. In fact, I would bet against it. I'd be very curious to see what his over-under is this year in yards. I'm assuming if everybody stays healthy, he's not going to have a vital role to the Chiefs, and that's fine for this upcoming year. He's a 4th-round pick. If your offense is at the point that you're relying on 4th-round wide receivers, something went wrong over the course of the season. Some significant injury happens, or he has just wildly exceeded expectations. But it's a little bit of a crowded room. You take a chance on a player and see if he can grow and he can develop. I don't have many things critical to say about them going to pick up Jaylen Royals. All right, let's hear about their running back and why they waited till round 7 to draft one.
So we knew before the draft this was a very deep running back class. There's guys that fell into the 4th round that we thought would be gone at the beginning of 2 and possibly, or beginning of 3 and possibly maybe even 2. So we kind of knew it was deep. We knew Bashard was somebody we liked kind of in the mid rounds, but with it being so deep, there was maybe a chance to get him. What happened was in the 5th, I mean, there was a player in Jeff Bossa who was there, who was clearly the best player on our board. So that would have been a time to take a running back. But when you have a other player that is higher on the board, Brett likes to go by, listen, let's let the board, we've worked on this board for 8 months. Let's let this thing speak to us. So we took the player we had slightly higher in Jeff Bossa, and then it allowed Brett to refocus and say, okay, I'm going to take a running back now. I know who I want. So we get to the 7th round, and Brett felt like giving up another 7th round pick to move up was well worth it, and I think everybody did, to get the kid that we liked in the mid rounds. So that was kind of the thinking there.
I mean, they did answer our question there, Rob. You and I are both looking at when they selected a running back, or a linebacker, excuse me, when they selected the linebacker, hey, that makes a lot of sense to draft a running back there. They're telling you, we looked at our board, we thought he was the best player on the board, so we took the best player on the board. I can't argue that logic. Now, did you do that on all of the positions? Because you didn't have a running back as the best player on the board until pick 223 in this year's draft class? There wasn't a time in which the running back was the best player to take. Okay. I just think that you usually can notice that there is a difference in running back. Let's take when they drafted Isaiah Pacheco. Now, I'm not saying that Isaiah Pacheco was a bad pick. In fact, if we go over the last 27th round picks, I'm guessing Isaiah Pacheco in the last 15 years could be the best 7th round pick running back. I mean, Rob, in that same year, in the 5th round, if they had spent a little bit more of a resource, they would have got Tyler Algier, who played for the Atlanta Falcons. We agree that Algier is a better running back than Isaiah Pacheco. So in the 5th round that year, they could have got a better running back. In the 4th round that year, if they wanted to go running back, they could have got Dameon Pierce, who plays for the Houston Texans. In the 3rd round that year, they could have got Brian Robinson, who has been a very good running back for the Commanders. James White was a 2nd round pick that year. Breece Hall was a 2nd round pick. I'm not saying that they made the wrong decision in drafting Isaiah Pacheco. I'm simply pointing out we will be able to do this same thing with this running back selection, and we'll see what that means, if it matters or not. But with where they selected a running back at 228, I'm saying 223, it's 228, where they selected a running back this past year, we are going to be able to look at, there are going to be certain inflection points in the draft where, hey, this would have been a really good spot to go get a running back. And we'll see what the long-term plan is. I still don't think that the long-term plan is very clear for them at running back. And that doesn't appear to be something that they're very worried about. They don't have a running back under contract past this season, and now they have a 7th-round running back. So our conversation about them investing in the position, I'm here to tell you, it ain't over. We will be having these same conversations next year. We're only going to have them for a couple more days, and we got to move on. Like, the running back room is the running back room, and we'll see if they pick up a veteran. We'll see if an injury happens. Like, there's only so much pounding the drum that I can do. That time's over. You had that chance in free agency. You got Elijah Mitchell. You had that chance in the draft. You got Bashard Smith. So they have answered my question on running back. But I'm guessing we're going to look at the 5th round. We're going to look at the 4th round, the 3rd round. Hey, this would have been a really good running back, and this would have given your offense a level that you just don't have. I just simply wanted them to take more of an investment in the position and take a bigger swing. And I want to ask Nate this question, who's coming up next. How does the same organization that 5 years ago spent a 1st-round pick on a running back now just not see running back as important? They don't spend any money on it in free agency. They don't spend any significant draft capital on it. They have gone in the exact opposite of an extreme. They went from having a bad breakup to, I'm never going to date again. Wait, there's other women out there. You don't have to just swear off dating. Date someone else. But they have sworn it off. No, we're not going to spend any more resources on it. We're going to pick up Jerick McKinnon, Elijah Mitchell, and 5th and 6th round picks, and we're going to do that for the rest of Mahomes' career. I mean, so far they won Super Bowls doing it, so maybe I'm the wrong one. Coming up at the top of the hour, Nate Taylor of The Athletic will join us on the show. Keep it right here, so drive.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
2-car crash northbound 435, the exit to 210 highway on the shoulder, but obviously seeing a few brake lights and some debris in the roadway. Southbound lanes of 35 in the northern side of the metro just past 435. More debris in the roadway southbound 35 at the Shawnee Mission Parkway exit. That right now is in the center lane, starting to get kicked around just a little bit. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Hey there, Royals fans. It's Royals Hall of Famer Mike Sweeney. Have you or your kids experienced a high school coach who wants to make our Kansas City community a better place to live, work, and play? The Royals and the See You in the Major Leagues Foundation, together with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, are shining a spotlight on 6 impactful coaches in the KC metro area. Nominate a high school coach today at royals.com/coaches with character.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. With 56 million winning tickets last year, anyone can win big. So set your destination to winning, like gas stations, grocery stores, or anywhere you can buy a ticket. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together. So close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We've got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
For over 8 years, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain, with over 50,000 satisfied patients. People with knee and back pain now living pain-free. Shoulder and hip pain gone. What they're doing is nothing short of remarkable. They're using regenerative cell therapy to restore the tissue in their achy joints. They're using biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life. The best part, with QC Kinetics, there are no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. It's an all-natural cellular level option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoy this summer without being slowed down by that awful joint pain in your knees or your back. Call QC Kinetics now and learn about these cutting-edge treatments that can help you live your best life. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. It's QC Kinetics.
BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bets more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. Log in today and make your picks with confidence with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go. The best deals on airport parking.
Step up to the plate and hit a home run with Casey's best airport parking. It's Park & Go. Great service, low price, zero hassle, open 24/7, and all spots are covered. Don't get caught looking. Strike three. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com.
Hang out with Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
We are very happy to be joined by our next guest. He is the beat writer for the Kansas City Chiefs, covering them for The Athletic. He also recently had his second kid. Congratulations to the Taylor family. Nate Taylor joins us on the show today. Nate, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, C-Dot. It's a pleasure to be on with you, man. Thanks again. Really, thanks to everybody who's been really kind and loving about our new son, Noah. So, yeah, man, Holly is a warrior and deserves to be crowned a champion. But, no, man, I'm good. It was nice to take a break for a good reason.
So let's just start with this. What is your impression of the Chiefs draft? I know the draft grades, we got to wait, we got to see. I think this is a solid draft class. I would be surprised if we looked at this class the way that we look at 2022 when they got McDuffie, Karlaftis, Leo Chenal, Isaiah Pacheco. That's a great draft class. It looks like they got some pretty solid starters and guys that look like they can help them, maybe not in 2025, but in 2026, 2027, guys that they can get a lot of production out of their rookie contract. That's how I view it. How do you view it?
Yeah, no, that all makes sense. And, I was again, I'm glad that I got to see the draft from like the fans' perspective for the first time in God knows however many years now. But I think you're on the money about. My initial thought is, can this be slightly better than the 2021 draft class? Knowing that trying to hold any draft class up to what happened in 2022, I think is really unrealistic. Obviously that is coming off the Tyreek Hill trade. So I won't say it's lightning in a bottle, but that's like a once in a generation successful draft class. So again, I think people forget in 2021, you still had Trey Smith, Noah Gray, obviously Nick Bolton and Creed Humphrey up there in the second round. You made the trade, obviously, for Orlando Brown Jr. That's a very good draft class that in a lot of ways gets overshadowed because of how great 2022 is. So, again, if this is more like the 2021 draft class, I think it is a success. I understand that there's some apprehension about Josh Simmons. I just remember on Thursday night watching, believing that based on your quarterback, the fact that he is aging and obviously having the results of what the Chiefs' losses in the Super Bowl have been like, you have to take Simmons, even if it's a potential situation because of the injury that, hey, just let him get healthy. I want to be someone who's very upfront. I know that Andy Reid and Brett Veach believe, hey, if everything goes according to plan, Josh Simmons could be available by training camp. Guys, we've lived through this long enough. They traded up for Patrick Mahomes, and he sat the entire rookie season until week 17, right? So if you've seen the success of that and you didn't have to trade up, you actually traded down and got potentially your left tackle of the future, and because of the knee injury and the fact that you signed Jaylen Moore in the offseason free agency period, he doesn't have to start in 2025 immediately. So, again, you could sort of treat Josh like you did Patrick Mahomes, knowing that Patrick Mahomes is going to need him in years 31, 32, 33, 34 in his age, of course, as your athleticism takes a downtick a bit, even though he'll still be mostly in the prime of his career at that point. So I understand what you did in the first round. I thought the second and the third round was interesting. And then I don't know about you, Carrington. I think the best draft pick is a cornerback who has ball skills. What? That was utterly shocking to me on Friday when they make the draft selection for Williams, because you're just thinking like, oh my God, like he's a cornerback who has speed and has good athleticism and can play press man, and oh my God, he can catch the football and maybe be a turnover machine. So, I understand why he takes him in the first round. I think I'm most fascinated and intrigued by the cornerback selection because that has gone above what has normally been the case for Steve Spagnuolo's system and what the Chiefs have tried to identify for his system at that premium position.
I looked at Josh Simmons as it was just a pick that made the most sense. You were in a position to draft a player where if he had been healthy, I don't think you would have had access to the player. I think he goes 13th overall, and you got to trade 2 first-round picks to go get him. So to get him at 32, to have the leeway where you don't need him to start day one, I thought it was a lot of value for Kansas City. One thing we talked a lot about on Friday is I'm looking at the money, and the money for this year just suggests he's not going to at least start the year. Maybe an injury happens and he can play, but they gave Jaylen Moore $21 million. They gave Jawan Taylor $20 million guaranteed. Teams are not sitting $20 million on the bench. What are the chances? What's the probability that week one Josh Simmons is a starter for this team at either left or right tackle?
I think an injury would have to occur in training camp, most likely. So if we remove that variable from the equation, not only would he have to outperform either guy in training camp and the preseason, I would argue that Josh Simmons would have to play the majority of snaps in the preseason, which, again, is a little bit tricky coming off an injury that occurred just, this past October. I don't see it likely happening, but I do want people to go through this exercise too, Carrington, and I'm sure you may have brought this up as well. Remember how people were like, well, given the injury to Simmons, what if there's a world where Banks falls to the Chiefs? Or what if the Chiefs are maybe available to trade with the Vikings at 24, 26 and maybe get Banks? Guys, because of health, Banks went 9th to the Saints, okay? So if you just watch their film together, side by side, I know who the better player is. I know who the better prospect is. Again, if you thought Banks was maybe the most logical, hey, we can maybe hedge this where it's not the best prospect, but obviously he can play in the league and he's going to be a starter one day. Well, the Chiefs got the better prospect and they didn't have to trade up. They didn't have to surrender picks. In fact, they actually gained a pick in the 5th round. So I'm totally with you. It is the most logical situation. I know Patrick Mahomes was very thrilled with this on Thursday night just because the Chiefs did their due diligence, and nobody has seen his knee outside of Rick Burkholder and the few doctors that the Chiefs entrusted when Josh Simmons made his visit, earlier this month. So if you think the recovery is going well, if you got the rehab in place, if you know that, hey, our medical staff trust the fact that they're going to be in place in 2026, like the coaching staff is not changing, you're not on a hot seat, you're probably going to make the playoffs anyway, then yeah, you can develop this guy and get his knee as strong and as physically ready to go for the 2026 season, knowing he can continue to learn from a guy in Jaylen Moore who just learned 4 years from Trent Williams, and you have, depending on how things go at the left tackle position, yeah, the odds of Jawan Taylor being back in 2026 are very slim. So he's going to have 2 veteran guys that he can learn from as his knee gets stronger because you don't have to force it. That's why no one wanted to take him in the 1st round, even though everybody on a consistent believes that his tape was undeniably, awesome. So all that matters to me is, hey, if he participates in training camp, great. That's sort of a bonus. But what you would like for him to see is maybe he gets a couple snaps in, November when a guy maybe needs a week off or there's some nagging injury before, the team makes a run toward the postseason, or, Josh Simmons plays in late December when, hey, the Chiefs have locked up the 1 seed or the 2 seed. They can't move up anymore. It's weeks 17 and 18. And now we've had a full year with him in the system. His knee is as strong as you physically can. You're a lot farther away from when the injury occurred. You're more than a year, removed from that. And then, hey, you have tape to build on to prepare him to be a starter in 2026.
Right now, we're talking to Nate Taylor, who does fantastic work with The Athletic, going through the Chiefs draft. All right, looking ahead into the crystal ball, I'm going to speed past this upcoming season, and I'm going to next year for 2026. Who is playing left tackle for the Chiefs? Who is playing right tackle for the Chiefs?
Again, if Josh Simmons is exactly who he was before his injury against Oregon, he should be playing left tackle nonstop. Just that is it. And for Jaylen Moore, it's like, hey, were you serviceable at left tackle? I cannot express this enough, ladies and gentlemen. All Jaylen Moore got to be is competent. That's all he got to be. Hey, ask Donovan Smith, Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Ask Orlando Brown Jr., just be competent. Chiefs won the Super Bowl. That's all he has to be. Can you be better than Kingsley Suamataia, who they put, a lot of emphasis on and a ton of pressure last season because he really had no competition. Obviously, we know the team didn't really go out and try to sign a veteran until DJ Humphries, and that experiment didn't go well. Wanya Morris is probably in competition in 2026 to be the swing tackle, or depending on how things go, hey, maybe he could potentially be your right tackle in a pinch in a sort of a gap starter situation. But I really think, again, if Josh Simmons is fully healthy, if he is as good of a player as a lot of people thought he was prior to the injury, and if his injury and his rehab goes successful, he should be the left tackle. And then really it's a contract year for Jaylen Moore, and I think for his representation and even for himself before he signed with the Chiefs, because you always have to keep this in mind. You sign a 2-year deal at a premium position, all you're trying to do is establish yourself as a clear-cut, above-average starter. So if Jaylen Moore does that, and he knows he's going to be in primetime games, and he knows he's going to be under a spotlight, at least in year one, with Patrick Mahomes, then, hey, you're going to go back to the Apple and get some really, really good money. And you could obviously re-sign with the Chiefs if that goes well. But also, I think Jaylen Moore understands this too. Hey, I have a starting job right now, which is something I didn't have in San Francisco, but I also have not really cashed in because I haven't had the chance to play, 16, 17 games, obviously a postseason run involved. So Jaylen Moore understands that, hey, playing left tackle, right tackle, I just want to play. So if I move from left to right tackle in year 2, that's okay because they drafted a guy in the 1st round who I got eyes too. I know how talented he can be if he's fully healthy. And I think most linemen will tell you it's a lot easier to go from left tackle to right tackle than it is to go from right tackle to left tackle with your quarterback being right-handed, just because obviously you're playing under such space, and the schemes are a little bit more designed, at least in Andy Reid's offense, to put you on an island in a one-on-one situation on the left side more so than the right side. So again, I think that's how it should play out if everything goes according to plan. But as of right now, I just think the Chiefs are in a pretty good situation if Josh Simmons works in 2026, because you still have Wanya Morris as a floor, as a swing tackle baseline to go along with Jaylen Moore, with the understanding that Jawan Taylor is probably playing elsewhere in 2026.
Nate, looking to their day 2 selections where they pick up 2 defensive linemen, they also pick up Noel Williams, the talented corner out of Cal. Which of those picks do you like the most? Because, I mean, this was a clear, we're going to start to think ahead for 2026 with our offensive line, but we're looking for guys that we think can help this defense. We're looking for an edge rusher that can be in the rotation. We lost Rashawn Wharton, so we're looking for a defensive tackle to also fill in that role. And, I mean, Noel Williams, I mean, if he's the kind of ball hawk in the pros that he was in college, he is absolutely going to be part of their rotation for this year. Which one of those 3 picks on defense did you like the most?
I have an affinity for defensive backs. You know this, Carrington. I love Noel Williams. I thought he was so good that he really wasn't even a part of the Chiefs' possibilities, because there are some people that thought he could go in the second round, and I was like, well, second round for a cornerback really doesn't fit what the Chiefs need in terms of their depth and what they're trying to accomplish on Friday. So again, when I watched tape of Ashton, I was just like, oh yeah, that's George Karlaftis 2.0. So it's hilarious to me that the Chiefs have already leaned into that. Because he plays a similar style, and you need guys who can just stay on the field constantly, push the pocket, collapse the pocket. Obviously, he has some versatility in terms of moving inside, outside. So, look, I totally get that. What Noel Williams does and what it should inform Chiefs fans moving forward is, hey, guys, you got the best slot corner in the league again. It's solidified, guys. They don't have to sugarcoat it unless there are only 2 wide receivers on the field with 2 tight ends or 2 running backs and a tight end, whatever the personnel group is. If it ain't 11 personnel, maybe Trent McDuffie can be on the outside for obvious reasons. He's a clear-cut starter, all-pro player. But once we get to 3 wide receivers, I don't want to ever see that man on the boundary again, because he's got the hips, the fluidity, and obviously the ball skills that he's developed over these last 2 years to be the best slot cornerback in the league. And now you have Jalen Watson, who'll be coming back from injury, as we assume fully healthy from his ankle injury. You just got Christian Fulton, who, is going to be obviously a veteran, serviceable player on the outside as well. And then as the season goes along, we've seen this time and time again, right around, Halloween, getting into Thanksgiving, somewhere in that range, Noel Williams is going to become a player, because I just think his ability to be press man and locate the football, Carrington. I just cannot stress enough that anytime they show clips of him, I just thought, oh, well, I don't think Steve Spagnuolo's had a cornerback who looks this good coming out of college ever. Because even Trent McDuffie, for as amazing as he wasn't a ball hawk. He was I put you in a straitjacket for 3 hours, DB. Well, if you have that guy on the inside, take away the easiest completions in the league, which is over the middle of the field, and all of a sudden, in one-on-one situations, if Noel Williams develops and continues to have those ball skills with Dave Merritt coaching him in the secondary, then, oh my goodness, you actually might get more turnovers on a defense that has not necessarily relied on turnovers. And so I think for the health and the safety of Patrick Mahomes, not only does he need to be protected, he also needs to have a plus in the turnover margins. And so I think that's why I'm most intrigued by Noel Williams, is because it wasn't just hey, this college quarterback made a poor decision, which they always do when you watch DB film, but it's man, this guy is always in place. He's matching routes. He's seeing what the quarterback's seeing. He's anticipating well, and he can make diving catches. They don't have to teach him how to catch the football. In fact, I would like them to not teach him anything, because Chiefs cornerbacks have not historically been great at catching the football. So that's why Noel Williams is, I think, probably the best draft pick of this entire draft class, in my opinion, because if he hits, all of a sudden there are no weaknesses in the secondary when you have guys like Jaden Hicks, Brian Cook, Mike Edwards, who are obviously going to make smart plays on the back end. So now the corners can be more aggressive, and maybe you can get more interceptions this season upcoming than you did the last 2 seasons.
I feel that way about the Jaylen Royals selection. Like, as someone who follows the Chiefs, I find it hard to really poke holes in this move. Like, listening to their logic, he reminds us a lot of Rashee Rice. Also, knowing the way that their room is set up, they're not really going to have a lot of expectations on him in year one. They're not asking him to come in and be a number 1, number 2 receiver. He's going to really be allowed to develop this year, maybe help them in special teams and do some other things. And then you think about the value of getting him in the 4th round, pick 133. I really like the selection of Jaylen Royals.
Yes, and he's just speed, man, just pure speed. You know, I want to remind people that when you watch highlights or just college film in general, just know that for that wide receiver, if you're really scouting him, okay, maybe one of these DBs on the field next to him is going to be in the league. So what you want to see most often is good releases and separation and knowing what to do once you have the football in his hands. And that was something that I loved a lot about Luther Burton, obviously, who went to Chicago. And it's the same reason why I love Royals, because he can create separation and then he knows what to do with the football. He's not afraid to take on contact, even though he is, you know, not the biggest receiver in this year's draft class. And of course, as I've written in The Athletic, if you need a coach to scheme up a guy with speed to get open, you know, in the intermediate, deep areas of the field, there's not that many coaches better than Andy Reid about figuring out, hey, if I think the defense is eyeing too much on Travis Kelce, or if we want to use play action and maybe use either Hollywood Brown or Xavier Worthy as a decoy to create, you know, a deep over concept from going left to right or right to left for the cornerback so that you can get Royals open in space, then I can see it all making sense, right? Of course, the big thing is everybody needs to stay healthy. Rashee Rice, you know, his upcoming season will be obviously very pivotal, very interesting to watch, just because he's making it clear throughout his training sessions that he feels as good as you could feel coming back from a very awkward injury to his knee last year. So again, if Rashee Rice is close to what he was, you know, in September of last year, and now you have a more stronger connection with Hollywood Brown, obviously Xavier Worthy's got a, you know, much more of an understanding of the playbook and what his quarterback wants, then yeah, you can bring along Royals and use him not as a gadget player, but as a guy that we just want to take big swings on a couple third downs or early in the game when the defense is obviously specifically designed to take something away that we've put on film more consistently than obviously flashing this rookie in front of us. He can catch the football. He can separate. He knows what to do with the football. It's probably one of the more surprising picks just because I didn't know if they were going to get a player of that talent in the 4th round, like you were saying, Carrington. I thought the Chiefs are going to have to make a real decision as to, like, do they want receiver tight end help on day 2, or is it really about, you know, getting a much better pass rush, giving more of a rotation to the guys? So they really found a way to not only just succeed at all this, but really find ways to find value within the draft order to where it makes sense to you and I. And all of a sudden, you know that player is competent enough that he should be a really, really nice role player as a rookie, to where he shouldn't have to experience what Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy went through the past 2 years as rookies.
Nate, I'll get you out of here with this, and I want to say this just because I want it on the record, because I know what's going to happen. October will be here, and they'll be like, well, you weren't saying that back in April. Yes, I was. I wanted the Chiefs, when they took the linebacker, I wanted them to take a running back there. I thought that was the best value on the board for them to take a running back. And all the running backs that people on the text line told me that they wanted were all available in the 5th round. They could have got Devin Neal. They could have got DJ Giddens. They could have got Ollie Gordon. All of those running backs were available in the 5th round. That's what I would have done. I am just surprised that the Chiefs have gone through this entire offseason and they are completely fine with this running back room.
It's a small gamble, but they're doing it again, right? They're just doing it in a different way. So I love this. Again, just to remind people, they didn't do a single thing last year in the offseason. It was just like, all right, Isaiah Pacheco, here's 1,000 carries. Go have a good season. Of course, he gets hurt in week 2, and that plan sort of crumbles. Now, give credit to the Chiefs. They at least re-signed Kareem Hunt, which I thought was a smart move, given the success rate they had with him last year. I mean, I basically need to see Elijah Mitchell in training camp to get an assessment. But, hey, it sounds good. If Brett Veach thinks he's a similar player to Jarrett McKinnon, okay, I can see it. So, again, that's why everyone, including me, including you, Carrington, were just like, yeah, somewhere in that third, fourth, fifth round, give me a running back. Give me someone who can make a difference, who can give some dynamic ability, some burst to complement Pacheco. Because even in year 4, coming off an injury, I'm not really sure it's fair to just put the entire burden back on Isaiah Pacheco again. It's hard to do that to any running back not named, I don't know, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. I guess we're going to see you with Alshon Jeffrey in Las Vegas. So, hey, Jeffrey's going to take 400 carries next season. It's going to be amazing with Pete Carroll. But anyway, to your point, I totally get it, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart that they didn't take DJ Giddings. I was so sure that if there was any running back of that group to fit Andy Reid's system perfectly, it was Giddings. It was Giddings from Kansas State. Instead, he goes to the Colts in Indianapolis, and it's okay to be heartbroken. That's what the draft is largely meant to do, is to get you to believe in certain players, and then for them to not be on your team. But yeah, it's a question of, man, how much do we need this linebacker to really help us in the 4 phases of the special teams, which isn't getting anybody excited, versus a guy with a football in his hands when you have a running back who's 30 and you have a guy who's in the last year of his rookie contract. I don't love it. I do not love it at all. But I would have picked Giddings. I've been on the record about that beforehand. But, yeah, it breaks your heart, and you can't solve everything in the draft. So the Chiefs made a decision to say, we'll just get a guy in the 7th round. And that's literally what they did. They just said, we'll just get somebody in the 7th round. And then you read it, and you're just like, oh, so he was the receiver who's now converted to running back. Got plenty of speed. Can catch the ball. Looks really good. I don't know about pass pro. I don't know about, 3rd and 2s. But you can't solve everything in the draft. Every team tries to do it. But it really does come down to decision-making, and I'm not sure I completely agree with the idea that, yes, you re-sign Nick Bolton. Yes, you have Drew Tranquill. Leo Chenal, amazing player. You should probably think about re-signing him after the end of his rookie season. I had running back higher on the list than linebacker by a pretty considerable margin.
That is our guy, Nate Taylor, joining us on the show today. He covers the Kansas City Chiefs, does fantastic work for The Athletic. Nate, congratulations again, my man. We'll catch up with you down the line.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is Nate Taylor joining us on the show. Let's continue that conversation coming up on the other side, because with their selections, there's one clear message that I think the Chiefs sent about their roster. I'll tell you what it is. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Are you looking for a new job where you can have tons of fun and make great money? Twin Peaks is the team for you. We're looking for Twin Peaks girls, cooks, bussers, barbacks, and more. Text WORK, the number 4, TP to 85000 to apply today.
Gear up, race fans. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend is roaring into Iowa Speedway July 11th to the 13th, featuring the only NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader weekend on the 2025 schedule. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend has become one of the most anticipated and action-packed events in racing. Tickets are going fast. Score yours today and get ready to feel the rush at the fastest short track on the planet. Visit IndyCar@Iowa.com for tickets. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend at Iowa Speedway, the ultimate summer racing event.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
At Chain Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know.
That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Gear up, race fans. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend is roaring into Iowa Speedway July 11th to the 13th, featuring the only NTT IndyCar Series doubleheader weekend on the 2025 schedule. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend has become one of the most anticipated and action-packed events in racing. Tickets are going fast. Score yours today and get ready to feel the rush at the fastest short track on the planet. Visit IndyCar@Iowa.com for tickets. Sioux Cup IndyCar Race Weekend at Iowa Speedway, the ultimate summer racing event.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The offseason is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com, Renner forward and back.
RENNER.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
2-car crash northbound 435, the exit to 210 highway that is on the shoulder. Just a bit of a distraction right now. We do also have a crash 69 highway southbound, just past 435 on the Metro's southwest side. That left lane is closed. That's affecting traffic on 435 and 69 highway. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
The reason I get called Snap Count, Doc, is sometimes these teams say a lot of things, but who they play, when they play, where they play, answers all of our questions. You can say whatever on Tuesday and Wednesday, but on Sunday, we see how you feel about the players based on who sees the field. How you feel about certain players is usually answered in the NFL draft. That is the cheapest way to replace somebody in the NFL draft. Their salaries are capped. So if you want to find a running back at a cheap price, man, the best place to find them is right there. You are not going to find a better value of getting a running back right there. The biggest message that the Chiefs sent for their entire roster is they believe that last year was not the real Isaiah Pacheco. Some of you believe that about Isaiah Pacheco. Everything that the Chiefs have done this offseason leads you to believe they believe that last year was a hurt, unhealthy, banged up Isaiah Pacheco, and that with a year to rest, a year to get healthy, and a year to get right, they expect Isaiah Pacheco to come back this season. They did not make a single move to challenge Isaiah Pacheco this offseason. Not a single move in that room. Bringing back Kareem Hunt is not to challenge Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's going to be their short yardage, change of pace back. If they are both healthy this year, Isaiah Pacheco is getting more carries than Kareem Hunt. The 7th round pick, Bashard Smith, he is not getting more carries this year than Isaiah Pacheco. Elijah Mitchell, I don't think he's going to be healthy enough to get 200 carries this season. The message was clear. Isaiah Pacheco was our number 1 running back for this upcoming season. We believe in him. We don't feel like last year that was the real version of Isaiah Pacheco, whether it's because of the offensive line, whether it's because of the leg injury, and I'm going to attribute a lot to the leg injury. He just looked different last year. I know there's been a lot of criticism about his vision. I think that we saw a very unsure Isaiah Pacheco for the first time in a Chiefs uniform. He didn't have nearly the same explosiveness, nearly the same energy when he came back. You're used to him being a home run swing, big time play kind of player that sets the game through his physicality and his run style. That's not the version that the Chiefs had in the second half of the season. So there are some messages that the Chiefs sent this offseason. They sent a message. Jawan Taylor, this is your last year on the team. There's no scenario in which Jawan Taylor is on the team next year. They saved too much money. They either drafted his replacement or signed his replacement in free agency this offseason. You pick which one it is. Either Jaylen Moore plays right tackle or Josh Simmons plays right tackle, but we have found your replacement. You got 1 year left on this team. The Chiefs obviously feel very good about their tight end room. They didn't add a tight end this offseason. So in Kelsey's final year, what they saw with Noah Gray, getting Jared Wiley, getting him healthy off the ACL injury, we have this position filled. We're good. Me and the Chiefs just disagree on this, and we're allowed to disagree. I think their running back need is bigger than they see it, but they have had 2 big opportunities to improve the room. They got Elijah Mitchell in one of those opportunities and spent the 228th pick in the other one. The Chiefs don't see it the way that I see it. They don't see it the way that you see it. They think Isaiah Pacheco and the cast of characters around him is enough this season. Isaiah Pacheco has been enough to help them win the Super Bowl. A healthy version of Isaiah Pacheco. Maybe where we disagree the most when it comes to Isaiah Pacheco is, this isn't the first time that he's dealt with injury. Now, this is the most significant injury that he's had, but if you want to look at the glass half empty with the Chiefs running back room, these are the facts of their room. Isaiah Pacheco is coming off a significant leg injury, and he has never played 16 or 17 games for them. He has always missed time as the Chiefs running back. Kareem Hunt is 30 years old and does not have any explosiveness left. Elijah Mitchell is one of the most often injured running backs in the league if you look at his history. There's no way that you can anticipate in Elijah Mitchell having 100, 125 carries. Nothing in his professional career would suggest that is going to happen for this upcoming season. And then their other pick, they spent the 228th pick on it. So the Chiefs don't have a lot of question marks, I think, about their team. And the argument could be that having a question mark at running back is one that you can live with this season. That is a very fine argument to have. But I would say they have attempted to make improvements at just about every other spot on this offense. They had a left tackle problem last year. They tried to address it. They got deeper at wide receiver this offseason. I think they addressed it with Jaylen Royals. You look at some of the depth on other places of the team. There is one spot of their team that they think their room is fine for the most part. And I think we just saw over the last couple of months or so, they think it's at running back. So
I'm intrigued by the Chiefs and how they handle running back because me and you see it largely the same. And I hate running back. I would have taken a guy in the 4th or 5th or even the 6th. The way the board was shaking, Dylan Sampson was there, Devin Neal was there, DJ Giddens was there. I mean, Ollie Gordon was there. I mean, there were guys. If you want a guy who maybe had played at a bigger school, Trevor Etienne, he was there. They had guys available. But they decided to go with the 7th round guy. And maybe the 7th round guy is good. Maybe he's Isaiah Pacheco reincarnate, and you found Isaiah Pacheco all over again.
They could have got better than Isaiah Pacheco, though. And I think that's part.
And I agree with you, by the way. My point was you're going to go into next year's draft needing a running back in what everyone thinks is going to be a worse running back draft. So to walk away with this one saying, hey, we got Pacheco 2.0, that just means in 364 days' time, Carrington, you know what me and you were talking about? You got to use a mid-round pick on a running back because you have Pacheco 2.0. Maybe you re-sign actual Pacheco, and you still are lacking dynamicism in the room.
Yeah, I guess at least just for me. This is just me. I wouldn't have drafted the linebacker. Maybe that's really what all of this comes down to. All of the disagreement that I have with the Chiefs. Now, I maybe would have drafted a running back in the 3rd round where they got Ashton Gelati. If they had gone in a different direction and taken a running back there at pick 66, I certainly wouldn't have been unhappy if they had done that. And I think you could have got a really good running back. But I'm not really mad that the Chiefs saw a need to go get a defensive tackle that should be in the rotation for them and a DN that, I'm guessing he's going to be in the rotation this year. I'm not mad at those selections. For you to go big picture offensive line with pick 1, you got a guy that's going to factor in. You got multiple guys that factor into what you're doing defensively. You take Jaylen Royals, who is probably this year going to be a 4th or a 5th option for you at wide receiver, but I think is really good value there. The one direction that I just disagree with is in the 5th round. At pick 156, and if you look at the running backs that are available and the options that they have, did they make the right selection? And at least for me, I rather have a running back that I think is their number 1 running back than maybe their 4th or 5th linebacker. And we just view the position a little bit differently from that place. But I at least want it on the record. So when I complain about this in November or October, I want you guys to know where I stand. I wanted them to do more at running back. And I still think they are in a position that if an injury happens, which an injury will probably happen in their running back room. I don't say that to be a cynic. I just look at their running back room. Pacheco's never been fully healthy. Kareem Hunt is 30 years old. Elijah Mitchell has never been healthy. They are going to have some running back attrition in that room. They're going to be in this position again. This season, they will be in this position again. And this was the time to not be in that position. Now, the draft. And to get a running back with some home run ability. They drafted a running back who's been playing running back for 1 season. That was their answer to the position. They added 2 players, a running back who has played running back for 1 year, who converted from wide receiver, and a running back who has been injured every year since he's been in the league. They don't see running back as a problem at all. And they are expecting Isaiah Pacheco to fully bounce back this season and have a really, really productive year. That is what the Chiefs have told you, I think, in this year's draft class. Let's talk about the Royals, not Jaylen Royals. Let's talk about the Royals coming up in just a little bit. And you know what? Everything might work out for them. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
What's up, baseball fans? It's time to swing big on your bets this season. Step up to the plate with an odds boost token from BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. No opt-in is required. Just log into your BetMGM account to receive your odds boost token. Then, place a bet on any MLB game and activate your token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout. No matter the showdown, BetMGM is your betting home for baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-3669. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bets more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. Log in today and make your picks with confidence with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
we can be twinsies
to
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
What's up, baseball fans? It's time to swing big on your bets this season. Step up to the plate with an odds boost token from BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. No opt-in is required. Just log into your BetMGM account to receive your odds boost token. Then, place a bet on any MLB game and activate your token. If your boosted bet hits, you'll score a bigger payout. No matter the showdown, BetMGM is your betting home for baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash northbound 435, the exit to 210 highway that is on the shoulder. Just a bit of a distraction right now. We do also have a crash 69 highway southbound, just past 435 on the Metro southwest side. That left lane is closed. That's affecting traffic on 435 and 69 highway. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Vinny Pasquantino. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
Let's talk about Jaylen Royals and the Royals all in one segment. Let's start with the baseball team. We haven't talked much about the baseball team. You know what? The Royals had a really, really good week. The Royals did exactly what they were supposed to do. And when we are done talking about the NFL draft, when we come back to baseball in full, you know what? The Royals might be over 500 when we do that. You guys know my saying. You cannot make the postseason in April, but boy, can you miss the postseason in April. And we have watched enough Royals baseball, and we have seen plenty of times that the Royals have missed the postseason in April. And let me tell you, it was not trending well. In fact, it looked like a lot of the Royals teams that we grew up with. But you know what they did this week? They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Now, they got a lot of work to do. They're 4.5 games back of the Detroit Tigers. Obviously, a lot of time to go. They are in a log jam when it comes to the wild card. Obviously, way too early to be having those conversations. What they have done this week by sweeping the Colorado Rockies and winning their series against the Astros and now having themselves one game under 500 is put them back in the conversation. That's all they needed to do. Very few teams have created separation in the American League. It's early. All you had to do was not drown. And you're still hoping that you can figure out the offense. I mean, your offense is still not good. In fact, only one team in the American League has scored fewer runs than you have scored. You still got a lot of stuff to figure out. But you know what? You're winning games. You're around 500. And you still got a lot of time to turn things around when it comes to this offense. So, great week for the Kansas City Royals. The exact week that they needed coming off of 2 weeks ago where they basically lost every single game for the week. So, Rob, I know we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about baseball. I understand that the NFL draft is the number one story, and we'll get back to it. But I at least want to highlight that the Royals did exactly what they were supposed to do. You and I didn't care how they did it against the Colorado Rockies. They had to win that series. They not only won that series, they swept that series. And for whatever reason, this is always the right time to play Houston. You know who Houston is? They're like Michigan State. You know the best time to play Michigan State? It's in November. It's in that Champions Classic. Because you know at the end of the season, Michigan State's going to be a 3 seed and you don't want them in your region. You know that Houston's going to win 89 games and be a favorite to win the World Series. But for whatever reason, they just always get off to slow starts. This happened last year when the Royals swept them at Kauffman Stadium. They're hovering around 500. You did what you were supposed to do this week. You live to fight another day. That's exactly what you've done, winning, 5 of their 6 games in this homestand. You're now 1 game under 500. And now, as we are closing out the month, you will be around 500, and you live to play another month, and we'll see how May works for the Kansas City Royals.
And to continue everything you're saying, we talked about how it was tread water when the schedule was difficult. Now, we can disagree about the level of difficulty the schedule the Royals had coming out of the gate, but they're a 500 club right now. Their next 19, 20 games, this is the time to start getting fat and happy. They got the Rays for 3. The Rays are sub 500. Then they got Baltimore for 3 more. You beat Baltimore already, and they're sub 500. Then you get the White Sox. Boy, that is the time to really eat.
For sure.
Before you then take on Boston, who's okay, Houston again. Houston in May is similar to Houston in April. They don't really care yet. And then you get St. Louis for a 3-game stretch who's sub 500.
They're not good either.
This is the time where, okay, you play after 30 games, you're 14-15, maybe 14-16 after tomorrow. We'll just see. Your next 20, though, you got a chance to be 12-8. And if you're, 26-23 in the next month, no one's going to be upset with the Royals. No one.
No, not at all. So Royals, hey, You have put yourself in a position. That's all we asked you to do. Think about it like a video game. You have unlocked the next stage. You've unlocked the next stage. You were not out of it. You were still there. Eventually, we'll get past this draft stuff. We'll look up. We're past Cinco de Mayo. Hey, it's May 6th. Hey, man, the Royals are 17-16. They're over 500. They got the White Sox in town. Hey, maybe they can get things going. That is what you have allowed yourself to do. And you're right. Like, for as difficult as a beginning we talked about, that ain't how it is now. Tampa Bay, you are now playing teams you are better than. You are better than Tampa Bay. You are better than Baltimore. You are better than Chicago. Now is a chance to continue the momentum of what you've done the last 8 days or so. Continue that and find yourself 4, 5, 6 games above 500 by the time you roll around and you head to Houston coming up in about 2.5 weeks or so. So that was the Kansas City Royals. Let's talk about Jaylen Royals, who is the newest member of the Kansas City Chiefs. I really, really like that selection. Brett Veach has drafted a lot of things in his career. He's gotten a lot of things right in his career. The one player that they've never really drafted has been that kind of 4th, 5th round, very productive wide receiver that plays a lot better than his draft position. They haven't really drafted that player yet. Now, they haven't really needed that player, but you've gone out in free agency and you've clearly tried to find that guy. You brought back McCole Hardman. You brought back Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, you've always kind of been looking for that 3rd or 4th option, that kind of X factor to play in the slot, that could kind of be that gadget role player for you. They've never really drafted that player. You drafted him now. And I think this is a really ideal situation for him. If you listen to the Chiefs and how they describe him as a prospect, this is the kind of prospect that fits exactly what they like.
When I say he's like Rasheed, he's got big hands, strong hands, and he's very good after the catch. And you saw him downfield too on some of those clips. I'm sure you saw. I mean, the kid had 50 plus touchdowns in 2023. He was on record, or he was on pace in 2024 to kind of smash the 2023 production before he got injured. So we thought rack is a big part of our offense. It's something we look for in receivers. I mean, we look for speed. The kid had that 4.40. We look for strength. He has that, and he's got rack. And we look for route running, and that's probably an area where Rasheed had to kind of develop a little bit. So we kind of thought they were similar in that respect. But he came on the scene. We watched his tape before the Senior Bowl. Brett will kind of pick guys that you pick and choose, and we're like, hey, this guy's kind of interesting. Then he goes to the Senior Bowl, and we thought he did well. So he got even more on the radar. Then he goes to the Combine. He runs a 4.40. You know what I mean? And he jumps to 36, and we're like, oh, this kid's explosive. And then you get the kind of coaches involved, and we Zoom them and we talk, and we're like, yeah, we could use this kid. And with Rasheed coming back from injury and trying to get right, the hopes are, this kid can step in and try to get some playing time and help us out.
C-Dot, that's not what Sky Moore was? No, it's not what Sky Moore was. I mean, maybe that was the idea when you drafted Sky Moore. That's not how it turned out to. At the end, you were terrified of throwing it to Sky Moore, and he's only played 2 years of his rookie deal. You guys don't want him on the field anymore. No, I don't think that's what we want Jaylen Royals to be. Not at all, actually. I think you want Jaylen Royals to be like Wicks that plays for the Packers, Dontavian Wicks. If that's what he turns out to be, great. I would love that if that's what he turned out to be. A really good 3rd receiver, 4th receiver that could get you 600 yards in this offense. Because you got big dogs. Rice is your big dog. Worthy is your big dog. If he can be a Shakir from the Bills, one of those kind of players, I think you're very, very happy about what Jaylen Royals can turn into. And I think this offense will allow him that opportunity. Coming up on the other side, we'll recap the Chiefs draft from this weekend. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash northbound 435, the exit to 210 highway that is on the shoulder. Just a bit of a distraction right now. We do also have a crash 69 highway southbound just past 435 on the Metro southwest side. That left lane is closed. That's affecting traffic on 435 and 69 highway. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props. And now you can make the smarter play with new performance trends. Want to see if a guy's hitting that over consistently, or maybe they've been flirting with the potential triple-double? You can get the latest stats right inside the FanDuel app, and you can see who's heating up. And once the game starts, you can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. If you don't already have FanDuel, it is not too late to get in on all the playoff action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after street restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get up with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Hellsberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you.
Men, here's the truth. In the bedroom, good enough isn't really good enough, is it? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if your erectile dysfunction is making intimacy less enjoyable for you and your partner, give us a call today. Because whether your ED only happens sometimes or all the time, it's time to stop good enough and time to start really good. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. Whether it's only mild or moderate, or even if it's severe, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we have a variety of treatments and can even combine protocols, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in a long time. You could even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again for you and your partner. So make an appointment and be done with good enough. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go, the best deals on airport parking.
Step up to the plate and hit a home run with Casey's best airport parking. It's Park & Go. Great service, low price, zero hassle, open 24/7, and all spots are covered. Don't get caught looking. Strike 3. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
At Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank, we're partnering to help make your business visions become realizations. Through securing capital for growth, cash flow management, and comprehensive strategies that ensure a prosperous future. Because thriving businesses mean thriving people and thriving communities. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank. Member FDIC.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law knew what to do and got me $150,000.
Mike's got this.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
This report is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Kansas City, this is Michael Massey. Listen to the play-by-play all season long with Denny, Jake, Ryan, and Stu right here on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. We have a full 4-hour show today. The Royals, they have the day off today, so they will not interrupt us. We can talk draft the entire hour. All right, this is where I would like to start about the Royals. Or excuse me, the Chiefs, excuse me. I think the Chiefs have sent a very, very clear message with their offense and how they have operated this offseason. The Chiefs spent the early part of it addressing what I think most people would consider their biggest need. They didn't have a left tackle really at any point last season. After the Kingsley Suamataia experiment did not work, they were scrambling the rest of the year to figure it out at the position. Now, they eventually found some stability with Joe Thuney, but that was never a long-term solution to it. They addressed that early on with free agency. Every move on offense since then has been continuing what they expected their offense to be heading into the year. They had a chance to move on from Juju Smith-Schuster. They brought him back. They had a chance to move on from Kareem Hunt. They brought him back this season. The Chiefs' theme of the offseason has been continuity. It has not been fresh rebuild or fresh restart. It has been, we were really good last year, and we were really good in the face of some pretty significant injuries. Think about last August and September for the Chiefs. In August, their big offensive addition broke his shoulder, essentially, in Hollywood Brown. In September, their best wide receiver tore his ACL. Their number one running back broke his leg. So we are talking about 3 significant offensive pieces within probably a 30, 45-day stretch were done for major parts of the season. The Chiefs, I think, are telling you, we believe that we were going to have a really, really good offense with Kareem Hunt, with Isaiah Pacheco, bringing back Juju Smith-Schuster, bringing back Hollywood Brown. We don't feel like we needed too much outside contribution. We feel like all we needed was the guys to be healthy, and we were in line to having one of the better offenses in the National Football League. Look at their day one depth chart. And if we could now go back and look at the depth chart from 2024 after the draft, I don't think it looks any different than the one that they have right now. You might think a lot of positive things about this draft class, and it is a lot of positive things. They did not draft a single starter on offense in this draft. Josh Simmons, I don't think is going to start day one for this team unless an injury happens. Jaylen Royals, what scenario do you see him starting this year? Now, maybe he ends up starting because of the Rashee Rice injury, but even then, he goes into it as what, your 3rd, maybe 4th wide receiver? I mean, he's behind Xavier Worthy. He's behind Hollywood Brown. Like, this team drafted 3 skill position players out of their 7 draft picks. When they take the field first on offense or defense, you don't believe that any of them will be on the field. I don't think that's the case on defense. I think that is the case on offense. I think the Chiefs are letting you know we have enough on offense. We think we have enough at every layer of our team. We think we have enough at running back. We think we have enough at tight end. We think we have enough at wide receiver for this year. We didn't need to do anything bold. I think this draft is solid. I'm not here to tell you that I dislike the draft or that I think they needed to take bigger swings at these positions. I like the addition of Josh Simmons. I think it makes a lot of sense for them. I think he is a talent that isn't readily available to a team that picks in the bottom 3 of the NFL draft. I think they are thinking long-term about after Jawan Taylor and made a move. The move that I probably would have made in that scenario. So I'm very high on that pick. You then look at Jaylen Royals. I think they got great value in the 4th round at pick 133 to go pick up a wide receiver. Now, I think we know, based on how Chiefs receivers move, I wouldn't count a lot on him in September or October, but the second half of the season, who knows what you could potentially get. And maybe you find a couple of formations or packages that he can help you early on in the year, but you were not expecting a big contribution from him, and you drafted a 7th-round running back with the 228th pick. I don't think you're counting on him on being your number 1 day 1 running back. He might be in the mix somewhere, but I don't think he's going to be your workhorse number 1 primary rushing option for this season. So the Chiefs made a lot of moves on offense that are about 2026, that are about replacing current starters that they have. You got Smith that's going to be here for a little bit. Excuse me. Simmons is going to be here for a little bit. Jaylen Royals is going to be here for a little bit. So you have a handful of options that are more long-term viable options for this team. I think that was the theme of this year's NFL draft. Now, this is where I disagree with the Chiefs. We've been talking about over the course of the day. I wanted them to spend more resource on running back. That's the one complaint that I have about their draft. I wanted them to spend more resources at running back. I just don't think that they spent enough at running back. I don't think they spent enough at running back this year. They had 2 opportunities to improve the running back room that was one of the worst in the leagues last year. They had 2 rushes that went over 20 yards last year. Their number 1 running back averaged 3.4 yards per carry last season. They were not dynamic in the run game. They decided to basically bring that entire room back, add Elijah Mitchell, and then they decided to spend the 228th overall pick on a running back. Where, if you go back and you kind of look at running back history, I think if you just spend a little bit more of a resource, I think you just get a better player and a better prospect. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco is a very, very good player. And for a 7th-round pick, for you to get what you've gotten out of Isaiah Pacheco, that is one of the better 7th-round pick running backs that you could have gotten. But if you look at that same draft in which you got Isaiah Pacheco, if you had just spent a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th-round pick, you just would have got a better player. The text line disagrees with me. CDOT, there's no evidence that Tyler Algier is better than Pacheco. You're just saying things for clicks. Well, Isaiah Pacheco's never run for 1,000 yards. Tyler Algier did it as a rookie. He is a rookie. So what are we talking about here? He is a better running back than Isaiah Pacheco. Now, maybe your argument is he's not worth the 5th-round pick and there's not a big difference between him and Pacheco. I think that's a fair argument. But Tyler Algier is a better running back than him. There is a running back in every round of that class that if you look at, that is a better player than him. I am going to guess that 2-3 years from now, when we look back at this draft class, we will look back and think, man, I really wish the Chiefs had drafted fill-in-the-blank running back. And most of these running backs that I'm advocating for were running backs that you guys like and know. They could have got Devin Neal if they wanted to. They could have got DJ Giddens if they wanted to. They could have got Dylan Sampson if they wanted to. They said no at every single turn at drafting one of these running backs. I know that protecting Patrick Mahomes is the most important thing. I agree with you. Part of protecting your quarterback is giving him a viable run game. And I am confused. Excuse me. How in a short period of time, in 5 years, in 2020, the Chiefs spent a 1st-round pick on a running back. I am confused at how in a very short period of time, the Chiefs went from breaking the cardinal sin about running back to then never spending any resource. Doesn't make sense to me.
Me and you kind of see this the same. We kind of see it different. I don't mind them waiting on running back in a running back heavy draft. But where me and you, I think, see it the same is I think they waited too long in the waiting game. I have the pick where I think the Chiefs may have screwed up. I think the linebacker from Oregon is the miss. I don't know the player's the miss. I know that, all the they're the best. Who's the person who talked today to the media? The director of personnel said it was the best. I can play here when you're done. He was the best player on the board. That's fine. But you took a linebacker in the 5th round, a position you objectively do not need at a time in the draft where there was still Devin Neal, DJ Giddens, Dylan Sampson. There were guys that we spent a lot of airtime on this show talking about. They even traded up. I got the ESPN alert on my phone. Chiefs trade up and out on the clock. And I thought to myself, okay, here we go. Here's the running back. It's round 5. It's a deep class. There's these guys still on the board that they like. This is the moment. They didn't use an early pick on it, and I like that. You don't. That's fine. I thought round 5, bing, bang, boom, here it comes. And they took a position they don't need. Objectively, they do not need a linebacker, and they waited again on running back. That really surprised me. So me and you see it similar but not the exact same. I don't like they waited till round 7 on running back because I would have taken him in round 5. Where me and you disagree is you would have taken him in 2, 3, or 4 because you felt like there was good value there. I would have waited till 5, but when they took that linebacker, that's the one that puzzled me.
You're right, and I'm not going to complain too much about that. Like, I don't want to – I'm with you. If they had taken a running back there in the 5th round, I would have been perfectly fine. Where I will disagree with anybody, and I see it on the text line, well, why does it matter? They don't run the ball anyway. I mean, if you look at last year, Kareem Hunt got 200 carries for this team. 200 carries. That's 3 fewer carries than Devon Achane. 3 fewer carries. Devon Achane on 3 more carries than Kareem Hunt got 180 more yards than he got. Kareem Hunt had 7 fewer carries than James Cook. James Cook had 280 more rushing yards than Kareem Hunt did last year. Bucky Irving had 7 more carries than Kareem Hunt. He had 400 more yards last season than Kareem Hunt on just 7 more carries. My argument is not that the Chiefs need to draft a running back and use him like he's Derrick Henry. They got 325 carries last year. My argument is you kind of get what you pay for. That just in a comparable amount of carries. I mean, Breece Hall got 209 carries. Alvin Kamara got 218. You don't have to run the ball with these guys a whole lot. These other guys just do way more with their opportunities than the running backs that the Chiefs have. And that's what I want them to do. And that's the swing I wanted them to take. Take a swing on a guy that if you give Devin Neal 200 carries next year, you give DJ Giddens 200 carries next year, DJ Giddens gets 975 yards with those 200 carries, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. That taking that pressure off of your quarterback by running the football and using him in your pass and your run game helps your offense grow. You can get explosive plays not just from the pass game. You also can get it from the run game and the threat that you can run the football and how it opens up your offense. So we will obviously see if I'm right or wrong as the season progresses. And the Chiefs are taking a big gamble that Isaiah Pacheco is going to bounce back to form and be healthy this year. But I don't honestly have a whole lot of complaints about their draft. I like their draft for the most part. I just wanted them this offseason for a running back room that once it got hit with a little bit of injury, you saw that you couldn't really generate big explosive plays from it. I simply wanted them to spend more of a resource in trying to find that explosiveness, and I'm not really sure if they did that this offseason.
Maybe this is revisionist history by me. That's fine. Should we have seen the writing on the wall? When they brought back Kareem Hunt, I was very surprised. I don't want to say shocked because that's probably too much of a reaction, but I was very surprised when Kareem Hunt came back and free to this team. Can we now look back at it with the advantage of hindsight 2020 and say, them bringing back Kareem Hunt was probably a sign, was probably the moment. It should have been the marker, the checkpoint, whatever term you want to use, that, hey, maybe they're not as high. They're not going to spend a high pick on running back because going into the draft, we talked about it. Their room's kind of full. And they added a 7th-round guy, and they can manipulate the roster to make it work. But it wasn't like there was a clear-cut roster spot. It wasn't like, oh, you have to fill a void. It's with the advantage of hindsight. Do we look back at that Kareem Hunt re-signing and go, that's the moment we should have known? Hey, the Chiefs maybe don't feel like they need a running back in the early rounds as much as me and you do because they essentially have chosen Kareem Hunt over Cam Scattaboo, pick a name, because that's what they did this offseason. They picked their guy at 29, 30 years old over a 22-year-old.
This is one of the things. We don't got to spend too much time arguing about running back. Like I do like their class, so I don't want my feelings on running back to cloud how I feel about the class in general. So, C-Dot, how would you have felt if they had took Smith in the 5th, who was projected as a 4th-round pick, who had the 4th fastest 40 time then? One thing that I want us to stop doing about projections, especially once you get past the second round, is they don't mean anything. What does a draft projection mean? Who sets the draft projections? It's the media, right? These are not NFL general managers' mock drafts. They're Kent Swanson mock drafts or Mel Kiper mock drafts. And there's nothing wrong with the mock draft. But I think we get so hell-bent on, well, the media says that he's supposed to get here, so it's really good value. The only people that determine your draft value are the 32 general managers that select them. So you can't tell me, well, he was projected to be a fourth-round pick from who? Because the NFL just told me he's a seventh-round pick. And that's all that matters where you get selected, is what they tell me you feel. So I'm not telling you that the guy's not going to work, but I'm telling you, in 15 years, there has been one seventh-round running back who has run for 1,000 yards in the season. Your likeliness of hitting at that spot is just not very high based on where you selected said player. So that's just my feeling on Bashard Smith. He is a wide receiver that was not an NFL prospect as a wide receiver. They then switched his position to a running back. He's played 1 year of running back, and he ate against okay teams. And his offense as a whole, wasn't just him. Their offense really struggled against really good teams. That was kind of SMU's thing. SMU made the postseason last year largely because of schedule. We saw them when they played a really good team in Penn State's defense. He wasn't very effective in that game. We saw him against BYU, who was maybe the best team in the Big 12. He ran for 75 yards in that game. So some of it is I just don't love the prospect. A lot of it is I just don't like the swing that they took at the position. But looking at their draft class as a whole, I think it lines up with who they are. This draft comes down to one thing. How do you feel about Josh Simmons? What does he turn out to be? If Josh Simmons turns out to be their long-term answer at left and right tackle, I'm not too concerned about the rest of this draft class. There is one thing that they were really looking for in this class. Everywhere else, I think, is depth. Everywhere else is depth. If everything works out, the best that Jaylen Royals can be is your third wide receiver. You think that Rice is better than him. You spent a bigger resource on him. You think that Xavier Worthy is better than him. You drafted Jaylen Royals to be your third wide receiver. Now, he might end up being one of the best third receivers in the league, but that's fine. You drafted a off-ball linebacker that's probably, your third or fourth linebacker in Jeffrey Bassa? So if he turns out to be a productive player, cool. But you got Chenal, you got these other guys, you're hoping that he can be Drew Tranquil. I can live with that. I look at Noel Williams as a guy that this upcoming season, if he can end up being your third wide or your third corner, you're more than happy with that. You got McDuffie as your one, you got Christian Fulton as your two, you got Joshua Williams, you got Jalen Watson, and you got Noel Williams. If those are your five corners and you got Najee Johnson as your sixth, and you got to anticipate that an injury is going to happen at some point, Noel Williams is a third-round selection as a absolute ball hawk, a guy that can take the football away. You're never going to hear me complain about getting a strong nickel corner that can play on the outside and the inside and can take the ball away. And I also think in that second and third round, you took two swings. History tells you ain't hitting on both. I know we don't want to have that conversation today, but they are not going 7 for 7 on draft picks. They're going to miss on a couple of these draft picks. But if you were telling me you took two swings at defensive line at 63 and 66, and if you can get one of those guys to turn into a productive player, maybe Gelati turns into be a very good rotational edge that can get sacks off the other side, or Lott turns into be a really good run stuffer or pass rusher right up the middle alongside Chris Jones, I think you're more than happy with this draft class. But this draft class is about one thing. This draft class is about Joshua Simmons and what does he project for the future. And in 2026, if you want to play this thing out a little bit, we expect that Kelsey's number is going to be off the board. We're also going to expect that Jawan Taylor's number is going to be off the board. And you can always, you reach a deal with Trey Smith so it creates cap space. You can restructure Patrick Mahomes' deal. I mean, in 2026, they are going to be a much younger team, and they're also going to have a lot of cap space to take a couple of big swings in free agency, and maybe you go spend a little money at running back. Maybe you go spend some money at wide receiver. Maybe you spend a little money to go get another corner opposite, or however you want to handle it. But I think you have to look at this plan as really a 12-month plan, factoring in this draft and what I think it means potentially for their draft next year.
Let me ask you a question. I agree that the long-term success of this draft hinges on Joshua Simmons. I think we played it earlier. Mike Renner has this as an A. I think if in 4 or 5 years' time, Joshua Simmons is like your starting left tackle, you can pencil him in every single season. He's a quality player. The grades go up. I think it could be an A+ because you found that guy. So I agree with you there. But we said going into this draft, the Chiefs needed to find 2, maybe 3 starters, especially considering they had 3 picks in the top 100, and they moved up a little bit for Royals, so they had 4. I don't want to say premium, but they had 4 quality picks early in the NFL draft. Carrington, looking at the 7 selections the Chiefs made over the weekend, how many starters do you think they got? Because we said get 2 or 3. Do you think they walked away from the draft with 2 or 3 starters? Because I think that will determine how people view this draft. I view it as get some starters.
Are we talking long-term or are we talking week 1?
Both. Because I don't think Simmons is week 1.
I don't think they got any starter on offense for week 1. I'm going to say that Norman Lott starts for them. I think there is a chance that Noah Williams does.
I think those are the 2, yep.
If you're counting Williams if you were counting your nickel corner, your third corner as a starter, which I think you can in today's NFL, I think there's a chance he's a starter. That's probably it. Out of their 7 selections, they probably have 2 starters for their week 1 game.
I would agree. I think Gelati could also start, depending on like a minute. I could see a world where that guy runs FAU out. I could see that world.
Yeah, I guess with him, and I don't disagree that much with you. If you brought a Minahu back on a 1-year deal and he ain't healthy enough to start week 1, why is he back on the team? Like, this is the guy who was anticipating to get a big contract. He came back on a 1-year deal.
True.
I think for the most part, their DN situation is figured out. It's a Minahu on one side. It's Karlaftis on the other side. Now we're trying to figure out who that third pass rusher is going to be. And in those situational downs, who else is going to be on the field? And does Gelati pass FAU? And is he your primary kind of third, fourth pass rush type? But that guy's not a starter for me, not week 1.
No, it's like 2.5. I think he'll be used situationally enough where he can be like, Mike Dana's not a starter for this team, but he plays important snaps. I think that's the group. So that's why I have it the same way you do. I have it solid. But I could see how, not you or I, a Chiefs fan could say they walked away with 0 starters. Is that a quality draft? Because as much as me and you believe there are 2, we still kind of had to squint and kind of talk our way into the 2. You could easily have a conversation of they got none. So that's why this draft, I think, is fascinating for the Chiefs. I think you could walk away with 4 long-term starters, 2 right now. You could also walk away with none right now and maybe 1, 2 in the future.
Someone on the text line says, C-Dot, I think that Smith is going to turn into Jerick McKinnon for us. And if he turns out to be Jerick McKinnon, I would say that is a very, very positive thing. I think what I wanted the Chiefs to do was to find James Cook in this draft class. I don't think James Cook is one of the 10 best running backs in the league, but we've seen Buffalo enough. James Cook is a dynamic weapon. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run for 100 yards. He's a great complement to what they do in their run game. Maybe that's what I wanted them to find. And it doesn't sound like they think they need that for this upcoming year, or they think that's what Isaiah Pacheco will be this upcoming season. So we will see how it plays itself out. But we now have the answer. They're done. This is their roster. They are not adding another significant piece. That time is over. Free agency is over. Sure, there might be a veteran that gets cut and maybe an injury happens, but the heavy lifting of how you build your roster is done. I think the Chiefs sent a very clear message. We think we were in line to have a top 5, top 8 offense, and injuries derailed us. And if we can keep everybody healthy, we think that we have one of the better offenses in the National Football League. We will obviously see how that plays itself out this season. Coming up on the other side, let's talk about the top national story in the draft, about what happened with Shadur Sanders. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Do you know a coach who goes above and beyond? The Royals, the CU and the Major Leagues Foundation, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City are recognizing those impactful men and women. Nominate your high school coach at Royals.com/ Harley.com/coaches with character.
New Harley-Davidson starting at $99 a month at Rawhide Harley. Over 600 Harleys in stock. Only $99 a month for a brand new Harley-Davidson at Rawhide Harley. Visit rawhideharley.com.
Payments based on Nightster models and base color with 30% down, 84-month term, 6.99% APR with approved credit. Doesn't include freight, setup, tax, title, and license fees. See dealer for details.
Underdog just became one of the best places to make entries during the basketball playoffs with their Extender promo. With the Extender, you can play your way into increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boosts. Underdog is now available to play in Missouri, and their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. All you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, and you can mix and match across other sports like I like to do. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BOB to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BOB. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Shane Company engagement rings are expertly crafted to fit both your style and your lifestyle.
My wife's an artist and works with her hands. Shane Company helped me create a ring that's beautiful and sleek. She loves it.
Shane Company rings are crafted with care using high-quality materials, and we set each center stone by hand in our jeweler's workshop right here in our store. We also protect your ring, including the center stone, with our unmatched free lifetime warranty. Let us help you find your perfect ring, in-store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Buckle up and hang on, this is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together, so close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
O'Reilly.
Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 Brake Best Select brake rotors. You can upgrade to Brake Best Select brake pads for just $10 more. Or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or import direct pads for just $20 more. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology.
See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Napa, we've spent the last 100 years building our business into an engine that powers yours. Whether you're big or small, national or local, Napa has the automotive solutions your business needs to stay moving. And it's all driven by a nationwide network of quality parts and exceptional service on one mission: to keep your business moving full speed ahead. That's why we are the pros that know.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Looking at a highway closure on the north side of the metro, 210 Highway westbound. It is closed at Brighton. Get you more details as we can. Also, a two-car crash eastbound K10 to southbound 35. An emergency vehicle slowing things down eastbound lanes of 435 just past Knoll. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
This is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Chiefs football.
All right, let's talk about the top story from the draft. Let's talk about Shadur Sanders. There are a couple of different things at play with Shadur. Let's try to touch on all of those things. Number one, and I think this is the most important thing, I believe a majority of this is self-inflicted by Shadur. I believe that Shadur Sanders tried to manipulate the draft in a way to determine where he would go. I think that Shadur Sanders has a very inflated self-opinion and self-worth about his position in the NFL. I've seen people complain, well, Eli did it. Well, John Elway did it. Well, the NFL just clearly told you they don't think he's that. Because for all the NFL's flaws, I think the NFL is pretty consistent about one thing. If you can play, we are willing to overlook a lot of things. Jalen Carter was a top 10 pick, and he killed someone. Tyreek Hill does not appear to be a very pleasant human being. The NFL has paid him tens and over $100 million to keep playing football and have looked the other way for repeated nonsense for Tyreek Hill because he is one of the greatest deep threats in the history of the league. The NFL is not really in the moral police business. They are in the can you play? And I think the NFL is pretty clearly telling you about Shadur, yeah, maybe you can play, but we don't think that you are worth all of the things that you come with. We talk about these interviews, they're job interviews. They're job interviews. And they're job interviews where it is obvious that the teams talk to each other. It's not like the Chiefs never talk to the Lions or the Lions never talk to the Eagles. These teams are in constant communication with each other. These guys have all worked together at various times. They change teams. They change jobs. They share information. There have been enough conversations about Shadur to come to the conclusion that he did not interview well. So there are a couple portions of the offseason. You refuse to test when it's time to test. They have a test. It's called the NFL Combine. You go there, you show up, you run, you throw, you lift, you do all of these things. Shadur thought he was too good to do that. Yeah, you can skip the Combine if you're Travis Hunter. You can skip the Combine if you're Ashton Genty, if you're Abdul Carter. If you're a middle-tier prospect, you should probably do the draft. You should probably do the Combine. He just had no interest in doing it. So you don't have an interest in doing the physicals. You then perform very poorly on the interviews. Well, then something's got to give. You know what gave? Your draft position that gave. And I think the teams came to this conclusion. If we don't see you as a starter, how are you going to handle being a backup? I think this is fair to say about Shadur. Every major football experience he has had, it has been about him. His dad was his high school coach. And then when it was time for him to go to college, his dad became a college coach. And yeah, I went to go play for my pops. Then when it was time for you to go to another level, your dad then took a Division I job. Every experience that you have had in football, your pops has been in the middle of it. That ends now. How do you operate when everything is not about you? Can we trust you to be a backup? I've had this question about Shadur from the very, very beginning. Do you want to be famous or do you want to be a football player? Because sometimes those are not the same things. Yes, you can be a football player who gets really famous. Patrick Mahomes got really famous. Russell Wilson got really famous. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. We can name plenty of players. But you have never questioned if the work comes first with those individuals. Mahomes has his fun, and he goes to Coachella, and they go to the Met Gala, and they do all the things that really famous people do. But you have never questioned when it's time to lock in, hey, I'm ready to play football. I'm going to be the best teammate that I can be. I'm going to work out. I'm going to put myself in the best physical shape to go compete. Shadur Sanders has a SoundCloud page. After not being drafted in round 1, after the concert, or after the thing, he had a concert. Can you imagine that? I thought I was going to be a top pick. Afterwards, I didn't just, I'm just going to go to bed. He had a concert at his house afterwards. I think it's a fair thing to say, hey, are you fully committed to being a football player, or are you an Instagram influencer that also plays football in his free time? And I think that turned some people off. I also think what happened this weekend was very, very simple. I think that we in the media overvalued Shadur Sanders basically this entire time because he generates reaction. I think we can say this about celebrity culture in 2025, and we've said this for a long time. The best thing that you can be is polarizing. Is have opinions on both sides. Some people love Shadur. They love what he represents. Some of you hate Shadur. For whatever reason you hate him. You don't like his attitude. You don't like his pop. You don't like the way he carries himself. Those are the people that drive interest, people that get interest from both sides. Some of you love LeBron and think he is the greatest basketball player ever. Some of you hate LeBron James. And that is part of why he's become one of the most famous Americans, is that polarization. That is what Shadur does. So you are getting it from both sides. You are watching the draft to see where he goes. You think that a huge injustice is happening, or you are watching it laughing at him, hoping that he continues to fall out of this draft class. We did this in the media. We talked about Shadur like he was the belle of the ball. He wasn't. Shadur Sanders was a woman with a very inflated opinion about herself. I think we've all come across this woman. She's cute. You don't think she's ugly by any means, but she thinks she's a 9 or a 10. Baby girl, you're a 6. You're not ugly, but you think you're way finer than what you are. You think you J-Lo. You're not that. You act like you're Blake Lively. You are not Blake Lively. You're cute, though. I think that's who Shadur is. I think he's cute. I think he's an NFL quarterback that walks around like he's Jennifer Lopez, that walks around like he's Eva Mendes. And I think the league just told you, you ain't that fine to be doing this. But I think the thing that is most important with Shadur, the overall point, it does not matter where you get drafted in the league. It might matter for Instagram, might matter for Twitter, and sure, you want to say, and yes, it matters on your first contract. It does not matter. In the end, I think it actually worked out for Shadur. These are the other quarterbacks in that room. Mr. Nasty Man, who tore his Achilles, who is not going to start the season. Joe Flacco, who is 147 years old. Kenny Pickett, who is nobody's starting quarterback in the league. Shadur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. I believe that at some point, Shadur Sanders is going to get an opportunity to start. I do. I believe he'll get an opportunity to start. And what I love most about sports, what I love most about competition is eventually you get a chance to prove it. If you think you are the best speller in the world, they got a competition for that. If you think you are the best at swimming, they have every 4-year competition. Let's see if you're the best at it. If you're the best basketball team, you get an opportunity to prove it. In sports, you usually get your moment. He will get a chance to start. He will get a chance to be on the field. He'll get a chance to prove himself in practice. And nothing that happened this past weekend matters. Put your head down, ball out, and do the work. There are some people that, man, it wasn't fair, man. There are people that complain. We all know those people. They had the potential to do something, but why they didn't do it is always somebody else's fault. Man, the boss didn't give me a chance. And there's some people that take that unfair situation, they put their head down, they do the work, and they rise above it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make a way. If you're not going to give me a chance, I'm going to take a chance. And that's what I hope Shadur does. I want Shadur to have success. I think Shadur is a very exciting player, and it will be the best for my profession if he turns out to be good. Can you imagine if in the midst of all of this, he turns out to be Dak Prescott? Oh my goodness, that'd be incredible if that's what he turns out to be. I'd love it if he turns out to be that. But I have no control over his story. You have no control over his story. He does. Are you going to cry about how the system was unfair and everybody picked on you and they didn't give you a fair chance? Or are you going to put your head down and do the work? Life is a series of problem solving. That's what it is. This thing happened. How am I going to respond to it? I want to see how he responds to this. You have been put on a pedestal your entire athletic career based on your pops, based on a lot of things. That is no longer the case. This is a grown man league. And trust me, this grown man league has no problem kicking you out of it. They have kicked far better players out of their fraternity than you are. And I hope he's ready for that challenge. I'm really excited to see how Shadur Sanders' story ends because it has gotten off to a very entertaining start. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Are you feeling tired, maybe a little foggy, or just not like yourself? Well, it could be low T. Symptoms like low energy, poor sleep, and a lack of motivation. They don't have to control your life. And at Heartland Men's Health, they specialize in treating low testosterone and helping men regain their vitality and confidence. With just a simple, quick quiz at heartlandmenshealth.com, you can find out if you're experiencing low T, and then you can book a $100 consultation. They'll run your labs, and within 30 minutes, you'll have your answers. And if you start treatment that day, then the visit is on the house. In just weeks, you'll feel more energy, get better sleep, improve workouts, and have a stronger sex drive. So don't let this hold you back. Pick up the phone. Don't wait. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com today. Heartland Men's Health has 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Reclaim your energy and confidence today.
Are you in need of top-quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Bronius Professional Welding Equipment, service and repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
14 grand. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line, or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory's moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
Here is your Game of the Week, presented by Hyundai. 2 of the best in baseball will face off this weekend in a 3-game series. Los Angeles will head to the East Coast to play a resurgent Atlanta team who started off the season sluggish. Some of the brightest stars and biggest names in baseball will be front and center as 2 of the titans of baseball clash in another early season test. Who will come away with a win this time? Don't let the urge to sing along to that catchy tune distract you from that truck drifting toward your lane or that lane-splitting biker creeping up beside you. Fortunately, every Hyundai offers available class-exclusive advanced safety features that can alert you to potential dangers around you, and Hyundai has over 130 IIHS top safety awards since 2006. Because Hyundai is always working to ensure the road doesn't get you, IIHS top safety awards include Top Safety Pick and Top Safety Pick Plus awards to Hyundai vehicles from 2006 to 2025.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention, Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Napa, we've spent the last 100 years building our business into an engine that powers yours. Whether you're big or small, national or local, Napa has the automotive solutions your business needs to stay moving. And it's all driven by a nationwide network of quality parts and exceptional service on one mission: to keep your business moving full speed ahead. That's why we are the pros that know.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The offseason is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com. Renner forward and back.
RENNER. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Still looking at the highway closure. 210 highway westbound is closed at Brighton. And still seeing some emergency vehicles slowing traffic down at eastbound 435 and Knoll. We did have a collision at 69 highway and 435. That has cleared, but we're still seeing heavy traffic, definitely eastbound 435. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
I'm telling you guys this just as a point of reference. It's not like a flex or anything. So I will be gone Thursday and Friday because I'm heading to Louisville for the Kentucky Derby. It is one of the things that have been on my bucket list since I was a kid. And as I've gotten older, I am big on just experiences, you know, like I want to do these things and I'm in a position that I can do these things. So I'm going to the Derby. So Rob, this past weekend was time for me to go get my clothes. You can't go to the Derby in regular stuff. You can't go with what you already got. You got to be suited and booted for this thing, right? So I got my clothes. Shout out to Todd Clothiers and Ward Parkway. Hooked me up. I'm very happy with my fit. And then I was like, hey, well, you guys got hats. They were like, no, we don't have hats. And I'm like, I can't go to the Derby and I ain't got a hat. I got to have a hat. So they're like, all right, here's some places you got to go. And I'm going to give you guys a little tip here. I don't use Google anymore. I use ChatGPT. ChatGPT has become my new Google. If I got a question, oh, trust me, that thing going to give you the answer. It's going to send you the link. It's an incredible piece of technology. So I typed it in. Hey, where do I get a hat for the Derby? I got to have a hat. They told me this place. It's called The Missing Piece. It's down in Crown Center. I don't know why I thought that these hats were going to be a reasonable price. I don't know why I thought this. But I'm thinking, who really wears these kind of hats? I mean, I don't wear these kind of hats. Rob, I've seen you a bunch. I don't see you wearing a lot of top hats or fedoras or anything. I always thought these hats were like $30, $40, $50. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, hey, this hat's not going to be that much. Rob, I went in there and it was this older gentleman, older black gentleman. I think his name was Michael. Owned the place. Been selling hats for 42 years. I looked at him, I was like, hey, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I have absolutely no clue what I am doing. Can you help me? Here, I have a picture of what I'm wearing for both days, for the Friday races and for the actual Derby on Saturday. Can you help me? He was like, oh, yeah, of course. Rob, we started looking around, and I started seeing the prices on these hats. Y'all be spending all this kind of money on these hats. These hats were like $200, $300. I had absolutely no clue. None. I was flabbergasted that this was something that people do regularly. Wear these kind of hats. Rob, it took me 2 hours to find a hat. I was looking through all of it, because then you can't get it wrong. The hat's important. I was FaceTiming people. I was really trying to make sure I made the right decision about the kind of hat I was going to wear for this festivities. I eventually landed on 2 hats. So I'm happy with the hats that I eventually selected for the Kentucky Derby. And I will show you guys a picture when it's appropriate time of what I wore to the Derby. But it was not cheap for these 2 hats. And I don't think I will ever go hat shopping again after this experience. It was a lot to think about, a lot to do.
We have another 2-3 days before you leave. We can have this conversation, but are you going to have a mint julep when you're down there? I know you're adversity to dark liquor, so I'm just curious. You got the suit.
I've
you
actually
got the
had one before.
Okay.
I will have another one, yes.
I imagine there's a different ballgame.
I got the all-inclusive package, so it's all you can eat, all you can drink for 2 days. Yes, I will have a mint julep. I mean, I might as well. I've already paid for it. I might as well try it. You know, I'm not really a bourbon individual, but I can't be there and I can't not have the julep. You got to go for the julep.
Who will look better, last year's Hunter Dickinson fit or this year's Carrington Harrison fit?
He went to the Derby?
Yeah, I forget what.
I got to see what he wore then. I don't know.
He's a millionaire, so he can do these kind of things.
That's fair. Well, that's fair. No, I don't know. I don't know what he wore. I'm going with my mom and my sister. We are all taking the drive down there. So I'm driving down there on Thursday, and then I will be there Friday and Saturday, and we will drive back on Sunday. So I will miss 2 shows. But I will be back with stories to tell you guys about my experiences at the Kentucky Derby. I'm very excited to go.
So you're not going to do the bourbon trail while you're down there?
I'm not planning on it, no. I'm not planning on it. I've been to Louisville one other time. Louisville's fun. I think what I realize more as I travel is there's like 3 kinds of places in America. There are like metropolises that are like kind of unique, right? Like you've been to LA. LA and Miami are not alike. New York and Chicago, similar, very, very different though in a lot of ways. Then there are, I would say, regular cities. Like we live in a city. Kansas City is not that much different than Indianapolis, not that much different than Louisville. Like the biggest thing is like, do you have a football team or not? And then there's like towns, I would say. But Louisville is a very fun city. I've been there one time and I had a good time. I'm looking forward to the Derby's been very, very high on my list. Like the way you feel about going to Augusta and the Masters is how I feel about going to the Kentucky Derby. Like I don't really have the golf dream. I mean, I would go, but I mean, I want to go just because it's the Masters, but I never like, oh man, one day I want to go to the Masters. I never had that dream. I've always wanted to go to the Derby and wear a goofy hat and drink mint juleps. Very excited about it. While you're here talking about the Royals in the 8th inning, I will not be participating in any of that, actually. What are we going to do today? What are you going to do? NBA playoffs?
Cavs and Heat, baby.
I got to go see Sinners. It's time. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourself. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
For the first time in a long time, I'm willing to dream that this can be a special season for the Missouri Tigers.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The